What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the ASL. It is time to start the round of 16 Group A. And it's a hell of a group today. Of course, Soulkey once again in Group A as that winner from last season. Honor of switching around his group to make it the best he possibly could, but he couldn't totally avoid Zerg today here, Xun.
No.
Wasn't able to finagle that quite as well as last season.
Yeah, we don't have a translation, so we can't really tell you exactly what happened, but it seems like Soulkey picked Barracks, Barracks picked Effort, and then Effort picked Soma, so we can only get rid of one of those Zergs in the end, and that's obviously Soulkey's aim of the game, is to get rid of Zergs out of his group. That's his weakest matchup by far, but he's been unsuccessful in doing so. He has Effort in his group, and let's be real, Effort is a very strong ZVZ player.
Yeah, Effort is scary. But he's kind of unproven here in ASL. Hasn't participated for quite some time, and I think that Soulkey stands a pretty good chance of getting out of this group first. But kind of an interesting fact, he picked Barracks for a second time. Last season, he picked Barracks first as well. So very confident against Terran players. He also last season switched Light into his group, which is a mistake that Mini made. After he won the ASL, he had the ability to swap players around, and he put Light in his own group. It kind of backfired for him, but it worked out great for Soulkey. He seems to do extremely well against Terran, and he feels very, very confident. So he switched Rush into his group here in ASL 20. We'll see if that ends up backfiring here, because last season he smashed him down 4-1. In the next round, in the round of 8. So I see the plan here from Soulkey for sure. It seems like everything has gone his way aside from the Effort pick there. And that's kind of how it goes when you're the champion. You kind of get to set yourself up, all except for that one wild card player.
Yeah, well, while we're sitting here with the player introductions and the little interview here before the games, I'll take a little moment to break down what I think about these four individuals saying. So Soulkey, he's the guy that needs the least amount of introduction and explanation in terms of his ability. He's the current reigning champion for 4 times in a row now, and is looking for his Penta title in this tournament to really solidify his bourgeois status in the legacy of StarCraft. And then on screen now, we've got Barracks. He was a round of 8 contender back in ASL season 18. That was called the SSL 2024 for any confusion. So he's more than capable of breaking out today's group, but some would definitely consider him an underdog here, especially with his previous results against Soulkey, like you've talked about. And they have a bit more of a dated view on the guy, I would say, though, because he's usually getting knocked out in the round of 16 stage, historically speaking. But the reality is, he is a very strong up-and-coming mechanical Terran who could certainly go out 2-1 in this group today. It's definitely possible. Meanwhile, we've got Effort now. He's, despite being the third player in this group, beat none other than Flash in the grand finals way back in the ASL season 6, and was a regular strong Zerg before his wrist injuries took over his ability to perform. Now they're screwed on tightly, and he's more than able to hit that 500 APM mark yet again. And he's one of the best Zerg versus Zerg mirror players as well, historically speaking. So let's see if he can somehow surprise us all today, slap down Soulkey in a winner's match if he can get through Rush in his first hurdle. And yeah, surprise us all. Definitely a possibility here. Rush, meanwhile, last but not least, one of the best Terran gamers out there. He's got not one, but 2 silver medals in the ASL, almost being crowned champion back in ASL Season 12, losing out 3-4 to Mini, and then taken down by Royal 2-4 in ASL Season 14. This guy really could go all the way and finally get his gold medal, so don't sleep on him.
Yeah, Rush is super scary versus Zerg, and it just shows the confidence of Soulkey swapping him into the group. Just crazy levels of confidence from Soulkey there, but again, avoiding Zergs. He did not want to go up against Soma, so he had the choice. Does he want to switch out Effort, or does he want to switch out Soma for Rush? And he chose Soma to switch out of his group, so you can see the kind of power scaling there, at least the perception of the power scaling between Effort and Soma. Soulkey would prefer to play against Effort in his group.
Yeah, that's for sure. we'll have to wait and see how this all turns out, because I've been really impressed with Effort's performance lately. Saying it really does seem like he's back in form. I wouldn't necessarily say he's playing as good as he did way back when, but I mean, I do think there's a small possibility that he gets out of this group first, which would technically be an upset if he can somehow stop Soulkey getting that 2-0.
Yeah, that would be a pretty big upset, I think. Although, like you said, his performance before his wrist injury was next level. We love this guy effort. I'm so glad to have him back in the scene. I really hope that he's going to be able to perform at his maximum without any hindrance. But can he compete in the modern era in 2025? Is he still that good? We're about to find out.
Yeah, I mean, on the far left there, you can see Soulkey. He looks so calm and collected with his 4-star general jersey as well above that ASL logo, proving his current reigning dominance. Next to him, Barracks, a bit more animated, but we expect that of Barracks. He kind of wears his heart on his sleeve. His facial expressions, I do love. He's always so animated, generally speaking, and I love it when his eyes bulge out of his head while he's playing with laser focus as well. Rush here seems pretty calm and collected on the far right. Pretty much all of these guys have been on the stage a lot. Like we're not in that era where just a few weeks ago where these gamers were in the round of 16. There was quite a lot of people that hadn't had a lot of stage time, and there was a lot of jitters and nerves. But with these 4 guys here today, there's probably nowhere near as much nervousness going on, and I think we're going to see some really spectacularly good games.
Yeah, the only surprise in the round of 24 was BTS making it through, and he already has a ton of stage time from
Yeah.
StarCraft 2. So really no nerves here, but a very hard round of 16 to predict. I went ahead and threw up my prediction video on my channel today on YouTube, and I predicted Soulkey and Rush to get through just based on the most recent ASL performances, but it's so hard to figure out who's actually going to go through. Barracks kind of disappointed me last season. He went out in the round of 16. I thought that he was going to do much better. Here, he's in a group of death, and it's going to be very hard to advance.
Oh, absolutely. I don't even think I want to make predictions, saying just because it's almost unnecessary. Because every single gamer here, besides maybe BTS, is likely capable of going through to that round of 8 stage. So I don't even think there's a point, unless you're a betting man and you want to go crazy, sure. But I think the reality is that we know deep down that any single one of these 4 gamers could break out of this group here today. Yes, Soulkey is the favorite for sure, but there is still a possibility that someone like Effort could upset him in the winners finals, and who knows, maybe somehow, some way, Soulkey falls in that finals match as well. Anything is possible in the ASL, guys. So I'm looking forward to some potential surprises.
Yeah, this is the most dangerous phase of the tournament for Soulkey. The round of 16, you've got a best of 1. If you go into the winners or the losers, you have a best of 3 there. And so it's an opportunity to knock out Soulkey. He's not going to be able to completely unfurl his wings in this stage. Once he gets into the quarterfinals, he's nearly unstoppable in those best of 7 formats. He's just so good at hitting the series. So this is the big opportunity to potentially take out Soulkey. Gonna have to make the most of it. We'll see if Effort can pull out some miracles in ZVZ and potentially take him down in one of those matches. I'm not sure if either Barracks or Rush can take him down. We already saw last season, like I said, Rush get 4-1'd by Soulkey
Right.
in the round of 8.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do think it's likely that even if Effort does somehow surprise us today by going out of the group first 2-0, taking down Soulkey in the winners match, the reality is I still think Soulkey will be smashing the last Terran player in that finals match to break through 2-1 as well. So technically my prediction is going to be Effort and Soulkey getting out of this group, but I know full well that certainly might not happen as well. But I think anyone would predict Soulkey getting out of this group, but calling the second guy is almost impossible.
Yeah, it's really hard to decide. I like Rush's chances here. He's very good against Zerg, but Barracks is insanely strong as well. He's been on the come up for a long time and recently won a SCSL championship. against Light in the finals. So his TVT is extremely good as well. We're really curious here how this is going to pan out. And all the other groups as well are just as hotly contested, guys. Like every single
Yeah.
group going forward is going to be an insanely difficult group to call. It feels like round of 24 was a cakewalk in comparison.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, usually the round 24 is like a trial by fire and it's absolute chaos. But I mean, pretty much every single prediction we expected to happen happened, except that final group, which was absolutely insane with BTS really upsetting that and Hero underperforming quite severely, definitely in some degree of slump in his performances. But I mean, the reality is every single one of these guys is capable of going all the way. Maybe you could say BTS not really going to have a chance at breaking through into the semifinals and finals, but who knows? He could surprise us as well and go on a bit of a rampage. He has been performing pretty good thus far. I do think he's maybe the only safe bet in saying who will be eliminated from these group stages. So let's see if he can yet again surprise us, which will be coming up soon. But today, with this group, it's going to be Soulkey versus Barracks, Effort versus Rush. Guaranteed two spectacular TVZs to kick off this group with some intense Zerg versus Zerg action if both the Zergs can beat these Terran players. And I don't know, man, that would be a real cool group if somehow Effort gets out of it first and puts Soulkey at risk of being eliminated. That could be exciting.
That would be insanely excited. I know that Xun would be doing mental backflips if that happened.
Yeah.
And I would be bouncing off the walls as well. If Soulkey gets eliminated here today, the entire tournament opens wide. It's a completely different tournament after today if Soulkey gets eliminated.
Oh, yes. I mean, this is basically Christmas in the summertime already, as much as it is. But if somehow those events do come to pass, oh my gosh, yeah, it would be definitely a Christmas to remember. That's for sure. Saying I'm looking forward to seeing these games and bringing them to you in the way of a cast, and just a real honor to be able to cast the ASL for you guys. So I hope no matter what happens, you enjoyed the games and cast today.
Oh, yeah. We really appreciate you guys coming in and hanging out in the Super Live chat. It's superlive.com/sctven. And there's posts pretty much everywhere. We go ahead and post right before. Just about ready to get into these games now. I am so down for this.
Oh yeah, both players just getting ready in their booths, aligning their monitors, their mice, their keyboards to the universe for optimal performance, getting some look at the statistics now. Look at Soulkey's record, very dominant, 62.5% against that Terran matchup, 64.1 against Protoss, but look at that, only a 50 down the middle split against Zerg. We talked about it a lot. That's his weakest matchup by far. And Effort, he's like the opposite. He's like, I think at one point in time, like 60% in Zerg versus Zerg. So I really do feel like he might have a hard time if he does brush up against Effort in that winner's match. We'll have to see what comes to pass. But look at that handsome nerd in his 4-star general jacket.
Here he is, Barracks on screen. Has not shown up in the round of 16 so far, but he's been blasting through the round of 24 in the past couple of seasons, and we're expecting great things out of this guy in the future. He's Light's protege, or at least his training partner, and has been improving and improving and improving, and we're just waiting for him to really hit his stride and overcome some of these great players. Is it this season, or are we going to have to wait for the next? Barracks is looking pretty comfortable there, not too out of place, and that is one of the biggest hurdles to overcome, is just getting comfortable on stage here at the ASL.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you essentially have to find that ebb and flow, that flow state, mental space where you can lock in to what you need to do, like you're back in the comfort of your own home and there's no lights, crowd, and cameras on you right now. And both of these guys have had plenty of stage time to be able to be successful in doing that. The first map is going to be knockout for these match ones between these guys.
Oh, dude, Soulkey just looks so calm, man. Look at him. He is not a worry in the world.
But we're about to jump into it, saying the ASL Season 20 Round of 16 Group A between Soulkey and Barracks, game number 1 on Knockout. Let's get it started.
Soulkey spawning over here in the top left. Barracks down in the bottom left. And he was looking a little nervous, taking some really big, deep breaths as he was starting off that game. I thought that he was feeling a little shifty in his chair, you could see. We'll see how he performs here. Historically, he has had a bit of a tough time performing on stage. Definitely able to perform better online, especially in that SCSL.
Yeah, we saw some like kind of flimsy mineral optimization from some of these guys in the round of 24 that weren't quite feeling it. But here we do not have that problem. Like, I see Soulkey's drones like flawlessly optimized from the very get-go here, and he's one of those Zergs that is seriously special at squeezing every drop of juice out of the orange Saiyan. I mean, he does pretty much all the other builds that the other Zergs do, but he does it while squeezing out one extra drone. Like, he's just that kind of guy where he can optimize so perfectly, and pretty much no one else can hold a candle to it.
That's what it takes to be at the top. You have to be able to hit absolutely everything perfect, and you have to do it on stage, under the lights, behind the camera, or in front of the camera, excuse me, and under the most pressure you can possibly imagine. Now, most of the pressure is probably off of Soulkey at this point. I mean, he's won 4 seasons. It's getting a little bit trivial, probably. I doubt that there's much adrenaline going on for him right now, and that could be a massive advantage.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, but there is something to say that you do need a bit of a fire in your belly to perform at your best in StarCraft. At the end of the day, you have to perform with a sense of urgency in this game. Not panic, but urgency. You're essentially speed running against your opponent to try and hit the timings a little bit more crisply and catch them off guard. Soulkey electing to go for a quick 12 hatch here in this game, and a wall in from Barracks. Nothing too crazy. This is a very standard way of playing this matchup in this current era.
Soulkey's got the peace of mind here with the Overlord over top of the natural. He can see the timing on the Barracks and the timing of the CC as well. He knows that he's not going to be under a lot of pressure here, although he has pulled off 2 drones to make sure that this SCV can't build a bunker. So, you know, taking a little bit of a hit to the economy here just to be extra safe.
Yeah.
A little bit surprised to see that from him, as he's got all this information right now, but he really doesn't want to allow Barracks to get away with any shenanigans, and he won't. He's just going to go back, make sure that he's got everything optimized with his Marine and his natural, and this wall in is going to allow him to cut some corners now.
Well, we did talk in the previous ASL about Soulkey's affinity for, you know, sometimes not cutting corners. Like, he's so confident in his ability that he'll always find a way of playing safe and hedging his bets to avoid any kind of early game disasters, because he's comfortable playing from behind. Even if he technically is disadvantaged with how many drones he's got saturated or what have you, he still feels confident that he's going to come back from that.
Yeah, this might be a good example of that. He's not taking a huge hit to the economy, but making 4 lings and pulling off those 2 early drones is definitely not optimal. For someone who's so good at optimizing his builds, taking a suboptimal route here seems counterintuitive, but just making sure that he's safe and that his build is on track is going to be worth it for Soulkey going forward, I think.
Yeah, this is guys watching at home. You should check this out, because this is how you should be playing on the ladder, where you kind of like account for everything that could happen in the early game, and then you won't be caught by surprise by anything, and have a stronger mid to late game transition, more or less, no matter what happens. So this is a good style to emulate if you do want to be a strong ladder player. Soulkey making quite a few speedlings now. This is both an offensive measure, but also defensive, because he wants to avoid having to make any sunkens here.
Interesting. We're gonna get to see a kind of a fairly older style. I don't want to say older style, but this is like 2-3 years ago. We would see almost every ZVZ kind of play out like this: 2 hatch muta versus 2 racks Marine bio. Gonna dive on top of some of these Marines, see if he can get a few kills. Ooh. 2 kills right off the bat. Backs out after losing a few extra lings. I think he can cancel 1 sunken. He does. So canceling 1 sunken there because of that little early trade. Very nice move as the bio was trying to cross the bridge.
Yeah, that's the goal of these Zerglings, to try and avoid having to make those 2 sunken colonies. He is going to make 1 for safety, just to avoid Barracks pulling the trigger on a really strong timing here in the early game of a 2 racks build. But it seems like Soulkey will get away with this. I mean, Mutalisks will be hatching in time to defend if Barracks were to move out right now. You can see Soulkey has elected to take the natural expansion as his 3rd base up there in the top right pocket, and that's a very more modern take. This is kind of what I was doing a few years ago, and a lot of people weren't doing it. And I was trying to explain to people that you take this base here so that you basically guarantee a free 4th gas later on in the game, and you can build sunkens to defend your front.
It's really caught on in the modern meta, especially with Soulkey's style of play, where he's very much focused on getting out enough lings and mutas to overwhelm the bio on the map, so that it's not necessary to just hold on barely with a Hydra and a Lurker morph on the ramp. You can be a lot more aggressive and to kind of take map control back from the Terran player early, and then yes, have that kind of free 4th gas later on. We're going to have some trading now. Will Soulkey be able to overwhelm, since he hasn't gone for the normal 2.5 hatch, which has been so common in the last couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, one other good thing about that base and the expansion in the top right, the Terrans can't scan that so easily. It's very common for the Terrans to scan the corners, trying to locate where that 3rd base has gone up, and sometimes they don't scan this natural expansion so often, so it can take a while for someone like Barracks to identify exactly where and when that 3rd base has been taken. So it makes it harder to make a decision. When do I want to move out and where do I want to push? You don't necessarily just want to blindly attack a corner of the map if you don't know there's a base there for sure. So this kind of obfuscates the timings and the planning that Barracks needs to take to play optimally in this game.
This is interesting. Soulkey's going for crazy Zerg. He's got an evolution chamber back at home. He's going to start making sunken colonies, but I think that this might play right into Barracks' hands. He's making he's got a pretty early factory, and he may be making a tank for a very early push. Valkyrie tank is actually surprisingly good against the Ultralisk rush. You can kill off a bunch of Overlords with the Valkyries, push back the mutas, get the tanks across the map, and break through before everything gets set up here for the Zerg player, before they get their upgrades going, and they have enough Ultras to break you, force the engagement before everything is ready, and the Zerg can just crumble. So this is a nice setup right now for Barracks. There's a possibility that Barracks can actually win with this play, and Soulkey maybe going down to the loser's match.
And he's getting Valkyries out, so he wants to do a very crisp timing. Valkyries essentially allowing you to come out onto the map almost a minute quicker than those vessels, since you're not waiting for that irradiate and what have you. And Valkyries build faster than any other air unit for Terran, way faster than Wraiths even. So and now you will see he'll use these Valkyries as point defense for his bioforces, push out onto the map now before Soulkey can maybe muster a significant enough defense. He's panic sunkening right now in his natural expansion. Can Barracks find the timing to break him here?
Oh my goodness, this is so crazy. He's just simply not ready. Soulkey is just not ready here. These 2 Valkyries are going to do so much damage to the mutas, and the sunken colonies are just not ready. Every sunken colony is going to go down here. I can't believe it, Xun. Wow. He's just going to do it. Barracks is going to go to the winner's match. Crazy that Soulkey leaves this opening here. He does not identify the build. He was playing around in the front of the natural so long he didn't figure out this was coming. Soulkey blindsided? Oh my goodness, a huge upset already here in the Group A. Oh my god.
I mean, You better believe that Soulkey is hoping that Effort wins now. He does not want to be in the losers match against Effort in a ZVZ. Holy, the only thing crazier than that crazy Zerg was somehow Barracks finding that insane timing. And let's be honest, Terran is all about that mid game against Zerg. Zerg is usually in the driver's seat in the early game, and especially the late game when they get all their tech online with Defilers and Ultralists. So if you want to kill a Zerg, the best time to do it is in those crisp mid game timings. And sometimes those timing attack windows are only like 5 or 10 seconds wide. And Barracks executed that perfectly. Really impressed by him.
Yeah, I thought that we might be seeing Soulkey break to a tank push. I never expected him to just die like that directly to the Valkyrie Marine timing. That's pretty wild. Okay, let's see what he saw. He sees 3 barracks. Is that all he was able to glean from this? He's going to poke in
again.
again.
Let's have a look. No, I don't think he saw, right? He didn't see it.
My goodness. Okay, wow. He just had no idea. And he didn't poke in any further to try and figure that out. It was just so intent on whittling down this Marine force that he completely missed out on scouting this Valkyrie transition. He should have had Scourge here to try and snipe these. He should have had Sunken back at home ready for a push like this, but he got completely blindsided. The moment that these Valkyries arrived, he took so much damage, and so the push was inevitable. You could see the panic, Sunken colonies being made back at home, but it just wasn't in time.
Unironically, I'm getting chills at seeing how well executed this build order and timing was from Barracks. Usually the Valkyries are to enable you to get out and attack the Zerg at around about 10 minutes. He's attacking at 9 minutes at the Zerg's door with these 2 Valkyries, with a strong Bioforce with +1 behind this. This is so hard to read and stop by the Zerg player. That perfect scouting information. I'm so blown away by Barracks here. That's a crazy good build.
Yeah, that seemed tailored exactly for that moment. Barracks going to be going up into the winners now. Will he be facing off against Effort? Or will he have to TVT against Rush? We're going to find out, guys, here soon. After this commercial break, it's going to be coming up here in a moment. We're going to mute and cover the screen because we're not supposed to show advertisements. If it's your guys' first time joining the stream, welcome. These are the conditions here for us posting this on YouTube on StarCastTV. So we do need to cover that up. And of course, the music is also copyrighted, so we have to mute that as well. Sorry about that, guys. All right, seems like Xun might have run to the bathroom here.
Oh, no, I'm here.
Oh, you're here. Okay. we're about to go to commercial break here in a moment, Xun. But what do you think about Effort versus Rush coming up now?
I mean, here's the thing. I'm in a bit of a strange dilemma because I want Effort to break out of this group, but I want him to do it in style. I want him to be the guy to eliminate Soulkey. So I'm kind of hoping that Rush wins, if I'm being brutally honest with you, just so that we have Effort versus Soulkey in the losers match, and then there's a chance that Effort goes down in history as knocking out this back-to-back reigning champion. He's got 4 stars on his jacket, but he might not be getting a 5th.
Yeah, that would be pretty wild to see Soulkey go down like that. One ZVT mistake, and then a ZVZ series takes him down. I mean, I would almost feel bad. Like, I know that that's what you want, but it's crazy to think that he might go down like that. In such a manner, and then it'll be back to Soulkey. You know, he'll be not even in the round of 4. He won't even be seeded. You'll have to go back to the round of 24. That would be a completely new world.
I mean, to be honest with you, in some of our previous conversations about life in general, not even about StarCraft gamers, I've talked to you a little bit about how it's not uncommon for, say, Olympic athletes to get their gold medals they've been training their entire lives to try and achieve. But once they achieve them, they don't have the same kind of purpose and drive anymore. So they kind of slip into a state of depression and kind of like pointlessness to life in general. And who knows, maybe something like that has happened to Soulkey, where there's a little bit of complacency now in his mindset, where he's not able to perform at his 100% because, you know, he's not as hungry for it as he once was.
I mean, it's possible. We were talking about it, I think, last season as well. Same sort of conversation, but he still seemed hungry for it back then. Maybe something has changed. I'm not so sure. Maybe it was just a lapse in attention there, or a lapse in judgment from Soulkey in that last game. He got blindsided. It happens to everybody. It happens to the best of them. We can't judge based on one game alone. We're going to have to see a few more games here. And I'm glad that we have at least round of threes in the round of 16 to figure that out.
Yeah, I'm so blown away though that Barracks was able to take down Soulkey, especially in that fashion. I mean, that's just insanity. And that's definitely thrown this group on its head, saying, I mean, similar to how when BTS was able to get that win over Hero, despite Hero having an advantage, it really does flip the group upside down, because no one in this group expected that result. I'm sure even Barracks himself didn't necessarily think he would be successful. It was a great build order and really well executed, but he probably expected Soulkey to be able to somehow smack it down and deflect it, and he would be in the losers match fighting for his life. And now he's in the prospect of being in the winners match, and who knows, maybe Barracks goes out first.
Well, you can't block a punch you can't see. Guys, we're going to commercial break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. All right, guys. Hope you had a nice little break there. Got yourself a drink, some snacks, because this group is heating up already. Soulkey in the losers match. Both these players know that if they manage to get out into the winners match, if they manage to go through, their opponent right now they have a very good chance of getting into that next round. If they go down against Soulkey, that is a scary fate, Xun. You do not want to be in the losers match versus Soulkey right now.
I mean, I've got a boyish grin on my face seeing these statistics of effort and seeing him back on stage in the ASL in the round of 16. Look at that record, plus 60% in every single matchup. I can't even begin to explain to you how hard that is to achieve, but this alien Zerg, more than capable of it. He's about to don his headphones. They're mainly just to block out the noise. The actual sound is coming from those earplugs inside, making sure there's no telltale signs or things happening in the game from the crowd roaring right as they almost come close to scouting a proxy barracks or something. So they can't hear anything. They are locked in to their little own world now, trying to get as laser focused as they can on their game plan and the StarCraft units that will be on their screen presently.
Yeah, Rush's TVC record not looking as strong, but his opponents have been just deadly, right? He's played a lot of games versus Soulkey. Just last season, went 1-4 against him. So, I mean, we can't completely trust that record. Rush is an insanely strong player, but yeah, you're right. The effort record here is insane. I mean, hard to imagine he's going to be able to keep that going in this modern era, but maybe. We'll see, man. Maybe effort can blast all the way through it and become the next ASL champion. I would love to see that.
Oh, I certainly would, and he's more than capable. This guy was smacking down Flash in his prime. ASL guys, season 20, the round of 16, Group A, effort versus Rush, and the map is going to be knockout. Let's get this show on the road.
Effort. Down in bottom right. Rush. Here in the top right. And we've even got the colors set appropriately. I love it when we give Terran blue and we get the red Zerg. You can see the plagues as they come down and don't need to miss any of the action.
I just want to see that Deadpool themes giving us maximum effort here today against Rush. Both of these contenders capable of going all the way. Rush, as we said earlier, he's got a couple of silver medals around his neck, looking for that gold finally. Will effort put a stop to that here today, or will Rush prove his worth?
There are so many players who have those silver medals, man. There's so many players that have just been right at the edge of getting an ASL for a long period of time. And if Soulkey goes out of this group, all those guys are going to be licking their lips. The best, the Snows out there are going to be like, this is my opportunity. This is finally my time to shine. I'm just so excited to see what happens to Soulkey, but this game is going to be wild. Most likely we're going to have a real epic standoff here on Knockout for our first match with the Rush versus Effort.
I'm not trying to sound too anti-Soulkey, but the reality is, if he does get eliminated from this group, this could very well be one of the best ASLs in a very long time, if not forever, because of just how blown open the rest of the brackets will be, and who knows what will happen, who will finally get their coveted title. You can see, a bit of a cheeky play here from Rush. So he's sneaked around this Overlord scout to build a second barracks at the 3 o'clock location. Meanwhile, Effort, he did open up with a safety pool initially to block something like an 8 racks or a BBS, but it's going to be this delayed double barracks build. Will Effort cycle up this second Overlord to this 3 o'clock location and sniff this out?
If he does, it's going to be lights out here for Rush. Oh no, he's not going to push forward. Oh my goodness. Okay, that is the typical location where you will leave your second Overlord. I think that Rush has really gamed this out well. Yeah, he... Oh. Ling's moving out on the map. He's going to miss it. He's not going to see it here. Rush went behind the Overlord. Its path went directly northward, and he went behind that, placed down this barracks. He's going to start to build a bunch of Marines here, and he's going to surprise effort with a completely just a wildly unordinary number of Marines, and I don't know if effort's going to be able to hang on. He built a second hatchery in his main. He's not building Lings. This could be a very quick victory for Rush.
Yeah, I mean, the Overlord's going to see it now in his natural, but he went 3 hatch before gas as well, so there's not going to be any link speed on the way or anything to help him out against this. He's going to have to try and hold on with sunken colonies while making as many Zerglings as possible. Already some DPS from those Ghost Rifles onto that creep colony. Drones are being pulled right now. Effort in a lot of trouble. He needs to stop this bunker going up at all costs. Gets a drill on one of those Marines, able to take it out. Can he kill both of these SCVs in time? He does target them down, but there's a third SCV showing up to the party, saying to get the finish up onto that bunker. Really well calculated endeavor here from Rush. The sunken does now finish, so he's going to have to retreat back slightly and start repairing that bunker from the left-hand side.
Ooh, he got the sunken, and it's actually out of range, Xun. This is so big. I think effort's going to hold now. It was a really close shave, but he manages to get it online. And the drone pull was just fantastic. Pushing away the Marines from that bunker has saved him in this game, and now he is in a fantastic spot here. He had to cancel his third hatchery, but that was some great quick thinking from effort.
I mean, my eyes are bulging out of my skull right now. He did this with a 3 hatch before gas, and he cancelled the hatchery to make sure he could afford all of this. Like, this is champion tier play from effort, adjusting on the fly to the build order of Rush that he was completely blindsided by. The adjustments that he did in that short period of time are the marks of a truly great player.
I'm surprised that Rush didn't pull more SCVs with this play. He wanted to kill the hatchery and still have a good economy behind this, but now effort is in a pretty solid position. He's got his lair on the way. The CC is nowhere near okay, there it is. Actually, it's getting pretty close here, but it's been pushed back a long way. And Rush, I mean, is he going to be able to continue on in this game? Is he going to be able to put up a good fight here versus effort? I didn't see how many drones exactly died. How many drones died in that exchange? Not that many, I thought, but looking at the main, I'm kind of surprised how light it is there.
Yeah, he did this because most of them ended up mining in the natural as well after all those exchanges, because it would take them too long to go back into the main base, obviously, to mine. A little bit too much lost mining time to sustain. And he's now going to make that macro hatchery yet again, but he did cancel it to make sure he could afford all of those Zerglings, Sunkens, and that lost mining. Did really hurt his economy, so we had to make some adjustments on the fly. Now he's playing catch up, and he is a macro-centric Zerg, so we kind of expect him to play this kind of style. He's got a lot of Zerglings out on the field right now, seeing if he can maybe punish Rush pushing out prematurely here, but Rush being pretty safe. He's going to scan first, identify that there is in fact a Spire on the way, and that there's been quite a few drones remade in the main base as well, so he can be pretty sure that he's safe to push out against some Zerglings.
Yeah, so this is way better than I thought for Rush. Like, usually when you go for a 2-Racks play like this, it's usually a BBS, but this was not a BBS, and so he's able to navigate out of this play a lot easier. Gonna force a few sunken colonies in the natural. They're very weirdly placed sunken colonies. He's even gonna catch a bunch of these Lings coming up behind the Marines as well. Every single unit here is so important for effort right now, and with that weird sunken placement, he's gonna have a hard time holding on to this natural.
Yeah, I mean, there is a real possibility for Rush to break this. He's got some additional forces coming in to back this up. Zerglings might be able to intercept them. He's going to target down that weakened Sunken right now. Drone's having a hard time to be pulled off the line. Finally get a drill on the way, but he's now going to lose the second Sunken potentially. He hasn't even started the third Sunken. Effort might be taken down. His man, he's about to type GG, and he does. Look at that. Rush pushing effort down into that losers match against Soulkey. This is what I wanted, Saiyan. I wanted that Zerg versus Zerg, and we might be seeing Soulkey eliminated in the round of 16 coming up after the match in the winners situation. I don't even know what to tell you. This is exactly what I wanted. I wanted that Zerg versus Zerg against Soulkey in that losers match to really put his tournament life on the line. It's a shame that effort couldn't translate that early game defense into a victory here, but the reality is this is exactly what we need to happen if we want Soulkey gone.
Yeah, I'm surprised that after that pretty handy defense from effort, he wasn't able to kind of secure a lead. I guess that build from Rush was a pretty solid. Hiding the barracks like that wasn't as all in as it looked, and he really didn't pull many SCVs. I think a total of 3 were sent across the map. Yeah, really, really solid attack there from Rush. Kind of a funky cheese that you wouldn't expect, and it works out beautifully for him. He's going to go into that TVT now versus Barracks in the winners match.
I think the biggest mistake there from effort was he should have made a third sunken and not made additional slowlings. Like slowlings without speed are not really providing you any power in that stage of the game. He needs 3 sunkens in a line to defend against that kind of timing attack from Rush. If you don't have the third sunken, you're just not going to hold it. It is what it is. And he instead tried to make some more Zerglings to reinforce the front. I think that was a blunder. I think he should have just, not made speed for his Zerglings, but also not made Zerglings. And instead, make that third sunken, maybe even a fourth sunken, to be honest with you. The third sunken was a bit bleeding from earlier. There's just no way he can hold on with that.
Yeah, it's a little confusing that he didn't, like, he made the sunken, he made the creep colony, but then he didn't make the sunken at the front there. That was a strange decision for effort there. Definitely in a situation like that, you would want the third sunken colony, but to make it make the creep colony and then not make the sunken kind of boggles the mind here. So not really sure what he was thinking about, but the situation was awkward. His handling of the rush was very good, but the handling of the follow-up definitely left something to be desired.
Absolutely. I was jokingly thinking to myself, what if he threw the game on purpose just so that he would have a chance at going down in history as being the guy to slap out Soulkey from his Penta championship? I mean, that would be a hilarious thought. I don't necessarily think that's true, but it would be a funny thought if somehow Effort did that on purpose just so that he could be the guy to take on Soulkey in that losers match.
Yeah, I don't think that's very likely, but the stars are aligning here, guys. This is what we need if we want to get rid of Soulkey. If some of you guys are out there tired of Zerg dominating this tournament, of Soulkey dominating here in the ASL, again, stars have aligned here in ASL 20 Group A to potentially knock him out. Just effort has to do the final blow here, and he's got this next best of 3, or the best of 3 after this winners match to try and make that happen.
Yeah, it's going to be that Rush versus Barracks, Terran versus Terran with this match situation going on. But let's just point out to our viewers again, I know there's a lot of you in the chat and watching on YouTube right now that seem to be stuck in the past of thinking that Terran versus Terran is this hour-long slog. It isn't anymore, okay? It's a lot more aggressive, a lot more dynamic, so many moving parts, very harassment-orientated with those dropships in the mid-game as well. There will be a lot of action to be had, so don't go anywhere.
Yeah, it's become much more faster, and the games are actually for the most part quicker than a lot of the PvPs, and in some cases as quick as the ZVZs. It's crazy how much that matchup has changed over the past couple of years. It's morphed. It's gone through this kind of weird transitionary phase of, Vulture Wars, and it's come out the other side with a lot of differences. Like it's just so much more centric around vultures and controlling vultures, controlling space, and pushing tank lines that are weak It used to be the case where you would just siege up and then the opponent would never attack into those tank lines. Nowadays, players are way more confident in just running up, placing mines, and pushing through with their follow-up tanks to break these small siege lines, especially before +2. But even once +2 is online, they're still breaking through. And then, of course, dropships like crazy all over the map, busting through these different locations. And, of course, Wraith switches. There's just so much dynamic stuff happening in TVT in 2025. So stick around, guys.
Absolutely. I mean, there's been a bit of a storied past between these two particular gamers. Rush getting the better end of the stick in recent times. In ASL Season 15 and ASL Season 12, he was beating out Barracks, but also in the history, there was some wins under Barracks' belt in the ASL Season 9 and the ASL Season 10 qualifiers. They've had a bit of back and forth in history. And to be honest with you, Barracks has come a long way in the last couple of years. So this might not be a one-sided game at all. This could be a really special TVT.
Yeah, I'm expecting fireworks here, Xun, for sure. Barracks, like we talked about earlier, uh, was being mentored by Light and managed to take him down in the SCSL in a finals. So this guy is crazy strong, and he's got a lot of momentum behind him right now. He's on the come up, and Rush, I'm curious if he's going to be able to take him down. Guys, we've got an advertisement here. Don't go away. 4 minutes. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we are back and ready for that winners match. TVT. Some of you guys might be cringing at the thought of a TVT, but seriously, hang in there. We'll walk you through this one. Neither of us are Terran players, but we've been enjoying it a lot more lately.
Yeah, yeah. It's just way more dynamic than we previously thought. It's come a long way. Like a couple of years ago, they developed the Vulture Wars, which was a very high mechanical way of playing the game. You need a lot of APM to do that. But it's evolved even beyond that. It's not just about the early game Vulture Wars aggression. It's now got crazy mid-game dynamic range of play with the harassment from the dropships and people finding new ways of breaking through tank lines that we've never seen before. There's so much more aggression in it, generally speaking.
And how crazy is it that we've already got a Terran player going through into the round of 8? Whoever wins here is going to go into that next round, which is awesome. I mean, I thought that potentially we're going to see both Terran players get taken out today because Soulkey, he just lines his group of Terran players and he knocks them down. That's generally how it goes here, but Barracks managed to make it through, and now he's got an opportunity to jump into that round of 8.
Yeah, I'm sure maybe Rush and Barracks are a little bit surprised that we've got this Terran versus Terran. Oh, some problems with Barracks' headphones, having to readjust one of the cups there. It came off. He's looking at it like, I don't even know what to do with this. Yeah, it's really annoying to like bend it over and stretch it over the edge of the rim to actually get it to stay affixed to the cup like that. Really annoying when that does happen. I'm hoping he's done it before. Otherwise, he's going to have to get a bit of assistance over into the booth to help him with that.
I think they have somebody for that type of thing. Gonna come over and give him a little hand there. It's not something he needs to be thinking about right now. He needs to be focused on this upcoming game, man. What's his strategy going to be, and how is he going to beat Rush? Everything else can wait. Everything else can be handled by somebody else because this is the most important thing in the world right now for Barracks, winning this next match and getting out first.
Yeah, a guy there in the crowd with a signed Barracks collector's card. Who would have thought that these StarCraft gamers would be collected like Pokemon one day, Sam?
I didn't even know they had collectible cards. That's awesome. I need to get my hands on some of those.
Yeah.
I'm not a big collector, a bit of a minimalist myself, but I have still held on to that cheerful that I made the 1 year that I went to ASL. The first time I went to ASL, got signed by Snow, and I've been holding onto that, cherishing that from those times. It's kind of a bittersweet pill or bittersweet feeling casting the ASL with you, Xun, because I can't go there live, but it's been a lot of fun.
Well, guys, we're jumping into the winners match now. The ASL Season 20 Group A, Barracks versus Rush. And the first map on the plate, it's going to be Radiant.
Barracks, bottom left. Rush top right. Seems like the mic's maybe not on the crowd or as close to the crowd as it was in previous weeks. Or players are not as excited for this week. I can imagine that quite a few people were expecting, just a one-sided victory from Soulkey and then, somebody else sneaking through behind that. But this is a very exciting week of StarCraft, guys. A very exciting group here. With Soulkey going down into the losers, everything has been turned around, and one of these guys is going to get through first.
The fandom.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say we talked about it in the round of 24. The fandom in Korea a little bit strange, right? Like the players that we think of as the best players don't necessarily have the most fans, especially not the most dedicated fans that show up in droves to this event. So yeah, sometimes you'll see one of the better Terran players on stage and actually not getting a lot of cheers.
Yeah, we don't have the kind of knowledge about who's the most popular streamers, because we can see them on Wikipedia. You can go and check and see which streams are the biggest and kind of tune in. But the personalities are so different between these players. Some of them are so quiet and reserved and aren't really interested in, you know, showing off a big personality and going crazy on stream, and others are just absolutely wild, and they're all professional StarCraft players. So
right.
It's just a totally different fandom in Korea. Players like Larva just get so much more love because they are so interesting to watch in Korean in their stream.
Now, let's talk a little bit about these Barracks' positioning, because they essentially took the Barracks at the same time. Barracks was a little bit slower, but it is really far out on the map. So this could either be for a faster scouting potential, just so we can get the floating building inside Rush's base and identify exactly what the follow-up is going to be as quickly as possible. Or it could be a bit of pressure play. Like sometimes you can make, you know, more than the 2 Marines and go a little bit aggressive. And Rush has made his Barracks on the low ground, which does make you susceptible, especially if you don't make 2 Marines. So we'll have to see what happens in this early game. Scouting SCV now for Barracks, sees the 2nd Marine starting. Going to be checking the main base now. Let's see what Barracks wants to do. Does he want to make more than 2 Marines and get a little bit aggressive here? Or is he just going to use this as a faster floating Barracks?
So he did try to put some damage onto that 1st Marine. You saw fusion cutters being used to put a little bit of hurt onto that 1st Marine. Maybe Barracks can pick off these 2 Marines by just surprising them out here on the map. He targets immediately that low HP Marine, and look at this. He's actually going to win this fight. So getting rid of the early Marines means his Barracks is going to not only be in the main base right away, but it's going to last way longer. So much more scouting information can be gleaned here by Barracks.
Yeah, and really nicely done, though, from Rush, turning around, getting that weakened Marine out of here, making it slightly easier for one single SCV to bully back that Marine of Barracks and prevent anything like an SCV being delayed to make that CC on time. So, yeah, at the end of the day, Rush is going to still be getting that command center started up at a pretty crisp timing in his natural expansion. So, yeah, a bit of a good crisis management there from Rush, preventing disaster.
Yeah, he's just going to have so much information here. Look at this Barracks floating into the main already, and Rush is not even halfway across the map. So, information-wise, Barracks is definitely winning out here. We'll see if he's able to make the right decisions based upon that, though.
Yeah, the SCV getting in the main base from Rush to check on what Barracks is up to. Just sees the single factory with add-on. So doesn't have this early 2nd factory like Rush does, but he doesn't know that for sure. It's possible that, you know, Barracks hit that way back in his base, but usually you don't do that. Usually the 2nd factory would be pretty close to that normal production line. So maybe Rush, feeling a little bit confident that he's got a bit of a production advantage here, could go on the aggression with that earlier 2nd factory and apply some pressure to Barracks.
Yeah, I thought he might, but he saw the add-on there from Barracks and immediately dropped his own add-on. And rather than pushing in with the 2 vultures versus 1, just kind of hanging back here in his own natural and waiting for his own Barracks to get in there to scout. Still continuing on with this vulture production, a 3rd factory here for Barracks. So Barracks with this extra... Oh, there's a 3rd factory for Rush as well. So we're going to see a bit of Vulture Wars here. We're not sure how long it's going to last for, but definitely both players ramping up.
Yeah, it's a bit of a sticky situation because on the one hand, it's great to like transition and get some tanks out to put a stop to the Vulture Wars. But if you're caught with your pants down mid-transition and you slow down your Vulture production, them getting a tiny bit of advantage. And look at this run by from Barracks just as the floating Barracks sees the move out from Rush. He's going to dive into the natural with 3 Vultures perfectly synchronized so they can one-shot these SCVs. But Rush is not going to blink. He's going to just put on the pressure now to Barracks getting into his natural expansion as well, taking out the majority of the Vultures and SCV station there. Devastation on both sides, both players losing so many SCVs right now.
Ooh, Rush sent a bunch of SCVs down the ramp as well and ended up losing a whole lot of those. He's still producing SCVs. That's going to die as well. Too bad he didn't get the cancel on that. Going to come forward here with those Vultures, grab a couple more kills. Barracks kind of transferring his workers over a little bit prematurely. He is going to surround and kill the last few Vultures, but Rush going to look for a few extra kills. Can he get 1 or 2 more? Looks like he will get every SCV at this natural. So big damage on both sides, both players limping now.
Yeah, I mean, there's a slight SCV advantage for Rush, but a slight Vulture advantage for Barracks going forwards. They have, it's hard to say exactly who's winning. Based on tempo, Barracks has a chance to come in here now and do some more damage to Rush. So technically, Barracks is winning on tempo, but here comes the rallied Vultures for Rush, which does give him a massive defender's advantage to fight back against this. SCV's coming off the line to try and help put out some extra DPS, but it looks like Barracks, with that tempo, still reigning supreme right now. He might be taking out Rush in this first game. He's killing so much, and even with these vultures coming down the ramp, it might not be enough to stop Barracks anymore.
Unreal. That was a bit of a sad moment there for Rush as he moves out to try and get some mines on the map. He gets run down. Very similar to moving shot with Mutas, in that you just end up losing basically everything if your opponent is on top of their micro and keeping that moving shot going. And so he wasn't able to retreat. Oh, that is going to hurt. Rush going down 1-0, but it's not over yet. This is a best of 3. He's still got a chance here to go out first.
Absolutely. And Rush definitely capable of coming back and getting 2 wins in a row against Barracks. But we have to say that Barracks is one of these guys that's really come into his own lately. Like, he was really struggling in the ASL previously. You can see his win percentage reflective of that sub 50% in every single matchup, but that's not indicative of his current ability. He's long improved since those days of being bullied by the likes of Snow and other top contenders in this tournament, and he could come out of this group. I mean, how amazing would it be if Barracks, like I said earlier in this group, somehow breaks it out 2-0? That would be special.
It is funny how TVT has changed so much. Honestly, resembling a bit more of ZVZ in how quickly these games can end. Barracks gets that catch and suddenly rushes out.
So we're jumping into game number 2, guys. The ASL Season 20, round of 16, Barracks versus Rush. Let's get it started. The map, it's going to be Metropolis.
Barracks in the bottom left. Rush top left. I'm glad that they're keeping the colors consistent here. We don't get too confused. Barracks sticking with that red color. And once again on the bottom side of the map, vertical spawns here on Metropolis. This can be a pretty wild map in TV2 with the way that the mains are shaped. Very susceptible to dropships. Pretty tough to keep your opponent out of that main.
Yeah, and by the way, I think of this blue as like salutes there from the audience. We salute you as well, StarCraft fans. But yeah, I would say blue is like a traditional Terran color, but I do really prefer how red looks on Terran. It's obviously not good against Zerg when it kind of confuses you with what units are plagued, but when there's no Zerg involved, I really do like the red on Terran.
It suits him. Barracks here. He's got some confidence and some momentum going into this next game. Will he try to place his Barracks far out on the map again and repeat the success of last game? It doesn't look like it. Gonna be placing that on high ground instead. And I really like the way that he played that last game. Like, setting out his Barracks so far out on the map worked wonders for him. The whole curve of that game changed because of the scouting information that he was able to glean there. He saw the vultures move out of the natural and was able to slip by with those 3 vultures into the natural of Rush. Now, that didn't end the game, but it forced Rush into a position where he had to trade.
Yes.
And when Rush ended up losing all of his vultures at the natural of Barracks, then Barracks had that vulture advantage. It's a shame that Rush didn't sit back, build a couple of buildings or maybe a supply depot in his natural and you just kind of bunkered down there. He really wanted to get out with mines, and that kind of sealed his fate. But hopefully we're not going to see a similar mistake to that. I really do enjoy watching the kind of mid-game TVT as well, when we've got dropships flying around like crazy and both players dealing massive damage to each other and trying to take positions.
Well, I agree, Saiyan. I really do feel like that was tactically sound there from Barracks with that early scouting information, getting the guaranteed backstab damage with those 3 vultures, forced a trade from Rush to compensate by killing the SCVs of Barracks while losing more of his vultures than Barracks did, gave a massive tempo swing towards Barracks' side of the field, and Barracks secured a very potent win condition by ramming it down with that timing and tiny tempo advantage that he did have. And Vulture Wars do scale dramatically, like 4 Rex 3 and 8 Rex 6 and so on. Like it because of how quickly you can start 2-shotting or 3-shotting the vultures down with your target firing, it makes it very hard to come back from a deficit in army supply. So really well done from Barracks here, and he gets in with the SCV scout to confirm the CC timing.
Oh, this is interesting. So we've got Rush going for a pretty greedy natural here. Definitely slacked on his production in order to get this out, falling behind a little bit in supply, and he will have a relatively fast factory to follow this, but he needs a bunker, I believe, in the natural if he wants to stay alive here. No, looks like Barracks just going to respond with his own CC, albeit a little bit slower. So this favors Rush, just a slightly faster CC and no pressure being levied onto him by Barracks. This is looking kind of good for Rush right now.
Yeah, no, it does look like a very good game for Rush going forward, and we might be seeing an equalizer match if things continue on this trend. Wait, is he going to go 3 factory again? He's going to try and hide the 3rd factory from the floating Barracks and hope that Rush cannot identify that this is going to be a 3 factory vulture style play from Barracks, but looks like Rush is going to correctly send his Barracks over to the slight right-hand side of that boot-shaped main base and identify that this is going to be a 3 factory follow-up.
I thought he was going to snipe the SCV there. Doesn't go for that snipe. Will back away. Again, if you dive in with these vultures, there may not be a way of getting out, so it can be a one-way trip. If your opponent is on top of things. These Marines are going to be out in the front, and they're going to be targeted down first. There's 4 to 3 vultures right now, so a surround with SCVs is going to be necessary. The 4th vulture pops out, and now Barracks has his 3 factory play online, so he's going to be able to outproduce Rush. The moment of pressure here for Rush is over, and he'll have to return back home and play a little bit more defensive for the time being.
Ooh, I like this from Rush. He's got a fast armory. He could make Goliaths to try and counteract this early vulture aggression. You see how late the armory is from Barracks here, relatively speaking. This might be the way that Rush wants to shut this down by getting out a tank or a Goliath here. That could help him out and do the heavy lifting that he needs to hold his natural. And it's very likely that Barracks will be the aggressor and Rush the defender for quite some time. So yeah, being able to potentially also get early upgrades and make some Goliaths if he has to hold the line against Barracks, this could be a great setup from him.
We saw some very interesting use of Goliaths earlier on in the series, or in this season of ASL and TVT. Was it Speed? I want to say Speed.
Yes.
Who went for just a pure Goliath play and ended up, I believe he ended up making that work against his opponent, but it's been a little while now since those group stages, or since that round of 24, excuse me. 3rd factory coming online here, and I don't see any Goliaths so far. Probably not going to be that build. That was a kind of a one-off, I think, and
right,
and probably not going to be repeated here.
Yeah, I think he would make Goliaths in a state of panic where he was being overrun by the vultures of Barracks. But in a situation where Barracks is transitioning himself and getting his own tanks, seems like there's not going to be the aggression that will force a Goliath to be made. You don't want to have to make Goliaths in this matchup unless you're doing something like a very finesse early timing attack where you're trying to run down their tanks before they can get a high enough count of them. Usually make them in response to something like Wraiths, or you're being overrunning your natural and just trickling in vultures won't cut it anymore. So yeah, we'll have to see what transpires now. Both players have got tanks. Barracks taking a very forward position right now, trying to set up a contain as early as possible. Rush is aware of that, trying to establish his own foothold beyond his rally point to stop Barracks getting so close.
Wow, Barracks has siege mode already, and he's just shoving it in here. Gonna dive on top of these vultures and tanks, and he's actually just smashing face through this natural. He is winning this fight very handily and rallying vultures forward. Now the tanks are going to continue to leapfrog, and even if Rush manages to hold on to this position, now there's a contain right in front of his natural with mines and tanks sieged up here already.
I just don't understand how he does it. Like, how is Barracks this good at the game right now? This is insanity that we're witnessing. There is a lot of production available to Rush. Maybe he can figure this out, and that high ground from that boot-shaped main base does snake down quite far. He could also use the high ground to help bust out of this contain in a few moments. For the time being, trying to hold the natural to prevent too many SCVs going down. Barracks in a phenomenally good position, trying to target down that tank with the vultures, gets the shot with the Arclight shot cannon. Regardless, though, both of those tanks so low on the periphery of this contain. He's going to unsiege them and pull them back now before they go down. Nicely timed just before the tank on the high ground could get the shutdown kill. Vultures, though, coming to save the day, snagging those two easy pick-ins right there, and Rush finding some compensation.
Yeah, there was quite a bit of lost mining time here in the natural. If he'd allowed those tanks to get away as well, I mean, Barracks' position would be just insanely good. He could have healed those back up and reset this containment right out in front. Imagine if there's 3 full HP tanks right here, right now. Almost would be impossible for Rush to break out, but maybe he can get a little bit of space going here behind this Barracks, making some Wraiths. He wants to put that pressure back on once again, get those Wraiths in the air so he can start to pick away at those tanks and kind of force Rush back and force him to respond.
I mean, Barracks is also making an additional factory, but the reality is it's 3 factories versus 5 right now. So Barracks is trying to overcome that production deficit by getting some air support. If Rush just predominantly makes vultures and tanks on the ground and doesn't identify that this is Wraith transition coming out, as soon as he gets like 4 to 6 Wraiths out on the field, he can start quickly chewing through those tanks with the burst lasers. And if you have got an air superiority of a lot of Wraiths in the skies, can be hard about a lot of Goliaths or Valkyries to shut them down to keep your tank lines intact. So yeah, Barracks is going to go for a tactical maneuver here soon, while also expanding to the 6 o'clock position. I don't think that Rush has identified these Wraiths yet.
Yeah, I don't think he's seen it either, and he might be completely blindsided. For the most part, the first move with the Wraiths is going to be the most important, but 2 Goliaths pop out at the perfect time. He might have actually spotted that, Xun. I mean, yeah, Rush is right on top of this, and he's going to be able to shut down this Wraith play without too much trouble. Yeah, there's no... oh, gosh, he lost a tank there. Wait. Dude, Barracks making a big error there. Will Rush be able to force his way forward and see some more ground right now? He is behind... Barracks is behind in tanks, and he just lost one for free, and his Wraiths aren't getting any damage. This is a really good moment here for Rush. If he can take some more ground and shut down some of these bases with the Vulture play, it would be huge.
Yeah, now he's also expanding into the bottom right to get a 4th base online. Bit of a sneaky play there from Barracks to try and leapfrog ahead in economy. He's running into the main base with some Wraiths, looking to see if he can get some harassment damage, but Goliath's responding. Does get a full scout off into the main base of Rush. Now, even though Rush had an earlier armory, I don't think he's had a quick enough tech timing to maybe get that +2 fast. So who knows, Barracks might be the guy with that +2 attack upgrade ahead of schedule here in this game, and that would be a big tempo swing. As soon as the +2 kicks in, you can start two-shotting those siege tanks rather than it taking 3 hits to kill. So yeah, if Barracks can somehow get these upgrades out quickly while harassing with these Wraiths and getting this 4th base online, we could be seeing a big tempo swing later on.
Yeah, the double expand is a risky play, but it may end up paying off. Looks like we're going to have a Goliath drop potentially coming over towards Barracks side of the map. His Wraiths are nowhere to be seen right now. They're actually over on this right-hand side. And so as soon as Rush identifies that, he may just send this dropship in. Counter drop going to be coming his way as well. Barracks looking for some damage, but I don't think he's going to be expecting this drop right now.
Yeah, I mean, technically the mine could have seen that dropship, but I don't think Rush was paying attention. He could have seen the dot on the minimap, but it's very unlikely that he would have identified that that was a dropship, not like a vulture or something running by. So he's going to go for his own drop now into the main base of Barracks. The science facility is just about to come online. If you could slow that down, that'd be pretty cool as well. He's actually going to kill that SUV. Slows down the tech timing of Barracks. That's a pretty huge win. Slows down a potential +2 advantage. Has to cancel that now and rebuild that building elsewhere, which means we might not be seeing that huge upgrade advantage for Barracks just yet, at least. Going to be putting some of his own pressure on with a drop into the main. 2 vultures getting on top of the mineral line while the tanks see the natural from the high ground. Both players try and harass one another, but technically Barracks getting the better end of the stick, but losing these Wraiths is going to be costly.
Oh, wow. A second load up gets brought into the main here for Rush, and is he going to be able to get this mine off? No, the mine is denied at the very least. Still, this is denying his natural mining. Both players have been denied mining at their natural. However, Barracks has 2 more bases, whereas Rush only has 1. Is there going to be enough damage in the main here being dealt by Rush to make this worth it? Because his main is getting ravaged. He's actually ahead in supply right now. I'm kind of surprised by that. He's dealing a lot of damage here in the main, but he hasn't killed that much just yet.
Right, and you can see there's a bit of an upgraded advantage starting to be mounted by Barracks, but he can't quite start that +2 weapons just yet. Rush did deny that science facility from being able to finish up. He's probably made it elsewhere, but it's a big deal that he's going to slow down the timing of that and not allow Barracks to get such a huge advantage so early. And he's now going to continue compounding his advantage of trying to leverage this position inside the main base of Barracks with more and more dropships, dropping additional units now, and also putting more pressure onto the gas mining of this natural expansion, forcing a response out of Barracks. He could trade really well here.
Oh my goodness. Barracks has got to be kicking himself for losing those earlier Wraiths. If only he had those to kind of shut down this constant drop play into his main base, there wouldn't be much response from Rush. But right now he's just making non-stop dropships and just sending them in over and over and over again. There's nothing that Barracks can really do about it except keep sending units into his main. He's rebuilding some of these Wraiths, but this dropship number is becoming huge.
Yeah, he's going to drop even more units now into the lower ground outside the natural expansion here for Barracks and really start to ramp up the pressure. There are a couple of Wraiths to go pew-pew, but it's not good enough. There is Goliath support in these drops as well. Really high-level stuff that we're seeing from Rush, trying to win with tempo alone and leveraging this position over and over again against Barracks and getting some good trades by forcing a reaction. Has got Cloak. Finally, a scan comes in, but he's actually going to kill that Goliath and that low HP tank with these Wraiths. So interesting. He's going to try and micro. Yeah, he's going to do it. He can micro it back, but it will eventually die.
Oh, wow. That was actually very close. He almost lost all the Wraiths there, but more were coming in. He is going to shut down this play. He should keep the Wraiths here to make sure that those drops do not continue to drop here. Oh, he's just going to go for it again. Oh, my gosh. Wow. The Wraiths are out of position. He's going to allow that to land inside of his main again, and Rush is not done.
This is crazy. I mean, Rush is doing it, man. And he slowed down that +2 timing. I mean, Rush has his own +1 now. Unless Barracks quickly made that science facility after he had to cancel it and start that +2 belatedly, there's not going to be an upgrade advantage now for Barracks. So the only thing he had going for him was that base in the bottom right, and Rush was able to shut that down. He's taking his own 4th base now at the 12 o'clock position is Rush. That was forced to be cancelled just now by Barracks, going on the counter offensive, trying to take advantage of the fact that so many units had been leveraged to that main base by dropping over and over again. But the reality is there's a lot more supply advantage for Rush in this game. His production has been churning away, and Barracks was relying heavily on that Wraith transition, doing a lot of heavy lifting, and it's not pulled its weight yet.
Yeah, that attack into the bottom right as well might have been the kind of nail in the coffin here for Barracks. He lost a lot of SCVs down there, and that advantage in base number is going to really start to show through now, as Barracks just cannot keep up in production. 60 supply behind. He's going to go on the counter offensive. He's had enough, but throwing away his main base right now, I mean, that's a tough call to make. Will it end up working out in his favor? I highly doubt it here. Dropping sub 100 supply now as Rush moves forward to defend. I don't see this breaking the main base of Rush anytime soon.
Yeah, this is a bit of a desperation play from Barracks. He knows he's fighting a losing battle inside his own main base, and even if he does somehow clear out those units, he will be trading at a deficit the entire time, which will help Rush consolidate his lead over and over again. So Barracks, he's expanded again to the bottom right natural, floating that CC over. He's going to keep trying to churn out some more minerals and units and see if he can shut down this 3rd base of Rush. He's thinking, if I can just take this one mining base away from him, he will be mined out soon. Maybe there's a tactical victory that can be had in this game, but it's a bit of a long shot. Technically, Rush is so far ahead in this game, despite there being a bit of tempo with this attack from Barracks almost shutting down this 3rd. It's probably not going to be successful.
Yeah, he's lost so much of his main base, and sitting here at 81 of 88 supply, he's going to have to start remaking supply depots at this point. And where do you even start to build those? There's not a lot of good places to throw those down now. The main base is main base is mined out. Natural is mining out as well. Looks like this push will be shoved back, and Rush going to maintain his 3rd, but this is, I mean, I understand the idea here from Barracks. It wasn't a bad plan.
Yeah.
It's just he is so far behind at this point, it's probably not going to work.
And Rush has +2, so there's just no comeback mechanics really from Barracks after being unsuccessful in securing the win condition of eliminating this 3rd base from Rush and forcing him into a mined out situation. Barracks is in a lot of trouble. He's also supply blocked after losing all of those supply depots in his main base that you were talking about. He's going to have to start remaking them, and he's going to lose so many SCVs down here in the bottom right. I don't even know if a comeback is in the cards anymore. I mean, he has got a fleet of Wraiths, but as long as Rush is smart, that shouldn't really be that much of a problem. He's always got some Goliaths in support of his main battle force. Bit of a tactical tank drop here in the main base from Barracks, shutting down the mining and that natural expansion. But Rush is also expanding to 12 o'clock now with a massive conga line of SCVs making their way up to start their expedition. So this is not really going to pay off for Barracks like it needs to. He's going to go for one last hoorah, trying to break this base at the 9 o'clock. He needs to desperately eliminate this base and get some kind of tactical win to have any hope in this game. But I think this Hail Mary is going to fall short, saying he is technically trading well, but the reality is he's more than doubled. Rush has more than doubled his supply in this game, and that's only going to get worse.
Yeah, this game is over, but Barracks is forcing Rush to finish him off, giving him a little bit more time to think about his next match, and you know, giving Rush just a bit of more of a hard time, tiring him out a little bit, perhaps. Maybe that's what's going through his mind right now. He knows that he's lost. Anyone can see that he's lost at this point. It's 100 supply in advantage of Rush.
Yeah.
And so just maybe there's something to be said for just tiring out Rush now rather than just tapping out early.
I mean, we see that a lot in the history of StarCraft. It's not as big of a factor in the modern era, but back in the Pro League days, certainly you would see a lot of that, especially with the all-kill format of different players getting up to bat next, so the fresh players can maybe get advantage by the guy that's been winning, kind of a bit, you know, worn out from those previous games. Definitely still a factor here in the ASL. Conditioning is important in those best of series, so could be trying to stress out Rush just a little bit here in this game, while thinking for his game plan going into that decider match. I think the GG's about to go down, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's sub 40 supply now, 33 supply in total. That's how many SCV, like, 33 SCVs is not even a good economy. Rush shaking his head here at the end of this game. Maybe disappointed in himself in not being able to close that out faster. Maybe that's the play. Frustrate your opponent in that regard.
Yeah, maybe so. We saw the likes of Mini get seriously frustrated with his own performance because, you know, winning is important in a tournament setting, but the reality is you want to win in a convincing fashion. You don't want it to be a messy slog which takes you an extra 10 minutes to close out. You want to win spectacularly and close in on those win conditions with razor-sharp timings, and that's the kind of performance you expect of yourself in the ASL. It's that much of a zero-sum game that you have to be able to close out games quickly when you get those advantages.
Well, I think that Rush played an amazing game there. He had a good advantage, though, with the spawn positions. Had easy access into the main. Barracks went for the Wraith play, though. He should have had opportunities to shut down drops like that, but he was not in position again and again, and he lost so many Wraiths just to a bunch of Goliaths there. A little bit of sloppy play there from Barracks. Can he fix it up and win this next one?
Yeah, it's the ASL Season 20 Group A final winners match between Barracks and Rush, their final game. Who will win? The map's going to be Polestar.
Barracks, the top left. Rush, bottom right. Very big map here. Still doesn't necessitate a 30-minute game, a 30-minute TVT. We could end up seeing more or another quick TVT back and forth exchange. Really, Barracks could have left that game at something like the 15-minute mark after losing a lot of his base and falling so far behind. It was certainly going to be a massive throw if Rush managed to lose that game, but he decided to stick in, as is his right. He's managed to make it this far, and he can stay until his last building is destroyed if he really wants to.
Yeah, and the reality of StarCraft is that even if a comeback is unlikely, even if you've got just a 1% chance in a tournament setting, it's not uncommon to play for the stars to align and hope that your opponent makes a blunder or something that you can capitalize on and grind your way back into the game. So you can't completely fault these players for not GGing out early. This isn't the ladder. This isn't a practice game. This is the ASL Season 20. These guys have all the right in the world to stay in the game a few extra minutes.
A lot of marbles on the line here today. Whoever loses this will have to go down into that final match where either Soulkey or Effort will be waiting. It's not a desirable position. Rush got through with a pretty cheeky cheese versus Effort there in his first match. And so he probably doesn't want to meet him in the finals and have to, pull something else out. That was a pretty map specific and kind of a one-off build. I don't think he can get away with that twice.
It's very tough to pull off cross map as well. One thing I want to point out is that just because we have a Terran versus Terran cross map, we saw in game number 1 that did not matter. Barracks still found a way of getting a very quick closeout on that game. Was it like 7 minutes or something? It was insanely fast. And just because it's cross map doesn't mean it's going to be a slog here either. So We'll see what these two gamers have got prepared for one another. This is a pretty macro-centric map and a very easy to secure third gas as well to boot. So we could see a very strong macro game from both sides.
Meeting up here in the top right-hand corner. SCV is going to head towards each other's respective bases. 2 Marines on the side of Barracks, ushering away this SCV. 1 on the side of Rush here. That was at a second Marine there, just a little bit above the camera. Can't really see here on the meme. It looks like just 1 Marine was made by Rush. And so
yeah, maybe
taking it a little bit, being a little bit more greedy here, trying to slip out his factory just that much sooner and take a tiny bit of an edge. It is a bit of a risk, but going for 1 Marine can get you that tiny bit of an edge.
Right, yeah, that's an extra SCV you can make earlier on and what have you, min-max your builds to your heart's content. It obviously is weak against something like a BBS or a forward 8 racks and what have you. Seems like Rush making a very fast starport here, and he has got an add-on. So this could either be dropship, or this could be a tank Wraith play. 1-1-1 tank Wraith, a very strong timing-orientated build where you're basically making non-stop tank and Wraith from these 2 production facilities and trying to get a tempo advantage over the other Terran player and preventing them from stabilizing.
Oh man, Barracks gonna sacrifice his Vulture in here. He sees the starport, and he got the Marine as well. So a tactical sacrifice here, putting one of the pawns into his opponent's base. It does put him at a deficit in terms of a Vulture war, but seeing that there's a starport here, he's going to be very happy with that trade out.
Yeah, and he is making Wraiths, not a drop ship. Like, I expected it to be more likely to be a tank Wraith play or just some Wraith pressure as well. You don't technically have to go on the offensive with the factory, but you certainly can go for that. He's going to try and get the Marines so that the Wraiths can have a bigger field day, because usually you won't have a finished armory by this point in the game. So he's predominantly relying on those Marines for his anti-air, is Barracks in this situation. So the Vulture comes in, kills 1 Marine, and takes the HP of the other one down to half. So the Wraith will have an easier time being a bit of a bully for a little bit of time. But there was an armory instantly started by Barracks as soon as he scouted that starport. So it won't be too long until he has a Goliath out.
Yeah, because he scouted the starport here, he knows what he's up against. Should be preparing for this Wraith. That was a good move by Rush to go ahead and snipe that 1 Marine so that this Wraith could do a little bit more damage here initially. He does get 1 SCV and will slip out for the time being. Second Wraith at the front there, and it is indeed tank Wraith that's being produced by Rush right now. He has the full wall at the front, only 1 small gap there that's going to be plugged up by the tanks. So these Vultures that have been made will not really get a lot of damage going. They'll just have to be utilized to start to set up mines all over the place and prevent Rush from easily pushing out with this higher tank count.
Yeah, no, I like this opening from Rush a lot. It is so flexible in how you want to play. You can be aggressive with this. You can use this as a transition. The Wraiths, as long as you keep them alive, will provide a lot of vision for those tanks to gain the vision advantage. They can shoot further than they can see when in siege mode. So if you can use the Wraiths to kill the Barracks of the other guy and also use them to provide vision for your own tanks later on in the siege tank lines, definitely a lot of value that can be had from this unit composition that Rush has elected to go for. And now they're going to swing into the main base and see if they can get some scouting information.
Not finding out much there, but it's the same kind of setup on both sides. 4 factory for either player is coming online now, and without any really big trades thus far, I would say still Rush having a slight advantage here by having that better tech. Wraiths much more useful, getting scouting information, looking for kills like this, and also spotting for the tanks when the engagement finally does occur.
Yeah, and Rush slows down the building timing of 1 factory. Only kills 1 SCV total, but I mean, any damage is good damage with those 2 Wraiths, because it is a bit of an investment making that Starport and Wraiths early, so killing a couple of SCVs over the course of the early to mid-game transition certainly helps pay their way a little bit in this game for the time being. And it seems like Barracks wants to play aggressive yet again, trying to set up a forward position and containing the threat of rush in this game by getting a bit of an advantage with this high to low ground transition, leading to the 3 o'clock base here. I'm not sure if he actually wants to set up or he's just trying to catch rush out of position. We'll have to see.
Yeah, the roles are reversed here. Barracks this time foregoing Wraiths and focusing on Goliath tank, and Rush getting into those Wraiths early, but his siege mode is behind again.
Ooh.
There's a big timing here for Barracks, and his position is looking very good. He gets a big shot on the tank as well. He's going to kill a tank here. Rush not moving. What's going on with Rush? He's not getting out of the way of these tanks, losing some of them preemptively before the siege mode is done.
Wow, this is such an interesting timing from Barracks, and he just now finished his siege mode, did Rush, but not before allowing Barracks to come into a very devastating position, able to launch assaults onto the rally point and the natural. Those tanks are in range of that CC. This is kind of a light-esque style of playing Terran, positioning the tanks in this fashion to lay siege to the natural expansion from a safe position, and a lot more reinforcements here. And interestingly enough, Rush has a lot of tanks kind of wedged out of formation down here to the south, so he needs to drive forward with SCVs pulled off the line to try and push back this tank line of Barracks, because it's going to be really hard for him to position his tanks from that southern hemisphere off screen right now to actually fight back against this.
There's a potential here for Barracks to actually slip behind these tanks as well. Okay, here comes that breakout. He's going to run forward right here, right now, try to get through this tank line, but the mine connections here at the bottom side are going to be huge. Big mine connections there, giving Barracks a nice foothold and keeping him in the lead in this game. Just holding on to this position is a killing blow if Rush cannot break out.
Man, I mean, Rush does have these Wraiths to put a clock on that Barracks, provide additional firing range for his own siege tanks, but I mean, Barracks, he's looking in phenomenal shape. He's won on the trading, so he's got more tanks than Rush. He's got the contain set up. He's even got an SCV to slowly repair this tank that's going to be pew-pewed a bit by those Wraiths. This is such an interesting position. He should kill the SCV first, rather than just allowing it to repair. He's going to put a bit of damage on every single tank so that it can be two-shot by his own tanks here. He's not a bad choice from Rush. You can see he killed 2 tanks in quick succession with that endeavor, but he's only got 3 tanks left. Does manage to kill quite a lot of the tanks of Barracks though. Rush fighting back strong in this game despite the deficit.
Wow, Barracks already has his 3rd base online, man. He was handling business behind this push as well. Really impressive stuff from him. Only 3 tanks out, and Barracks just going to hold this high ground. Vulture's making a play for this 3rd. Gonna get in here and deal some big damage. Some of them already damaged, already hurt here, so gonna be killed off in quick succession. This is a tough spot for Rush right now. With this extra economy online and this high ground positioning from Barracks, Rush needs to make some moves quickly, break through some of these positions, and start to put Barracks on the back foot soon.
Yeah, it's just some Terran versus Terran 101 from Rush, opening up the lane to a 3rd base and locking out the opponent from securing a contain on his own rally point. It's so important to establish these lanes of transit and protect them as well. You can see he's also stationing tanks to not only cover his 3rd base that's going up now, but also keep open the lane to the north as free as possible and force Barracks to spread himself thin if he wants to somehow contain Rush on all fronts. That'll be a little bit too difficult to achieve. There is a big economic advantage though for Barracks with that fast 3rd base, and he's going up to 7 factories worth of production now. So I mean, this is definitely a Barracks advantage game, but I mean, there is a little bit of wiggle room for Rush to make a play and slowly come back.
It would be a mammoth comeback if Rush managed to make it happen. +1 is done on Barracks side. Not finished here for Rush just yet. Definitely understandable with all the chaos that was happening in the early game. It was so laser focused on breaking out of that. Very quick contain from Barracks. He has fallen behind in this upgrade game and will remain behind for the time being. He sees some control out here on the map, seizing a lane up towards that top right, but that can change very quickly. It's not, again, like it used to be in TVT. Just having the sieged line doesn't mean that that territory is belonging to Rush now. Barracks can still make a play for it.
He's considering it. He's considering attacking from the north, or at least containing from the north. Typically, you'll be scanning a lot in turn versus turn, try and identify how many defenders they've got on each of these battlefronts, and sometimes attacking where they're thinnest. So I was expecting maybe Barracks to rotate around to the rally point area of Rush and driving a wedge between the reinforcement line and that defensive position to the north. We see a lot of units starting to cycle down to the center of the board. Rush also equally unsieging and pushing forward now himself, trying to establish some center board control against Barracks while he still has the chance. We see some dropships finally coming out from Barracks, and he has got a lot of vultures, but the longer this game goes on, the more they are like popcorn and will just explode and provide less and less value to whatever Terran player still has a lot of those units. So even though there's more supply for Barracks, I mean, there's a lot more sturdier meat on the bone for Rush in his unit composition.
These supplies are getting very close now, Xun. Here comes the dropship, but it's going to be caught by the Wraiths as it comes in. We'll end up picking that off, but Vultures in the main going to get a few FCV kills, it looks like. Not going to be able to lay down any mines or do any significant damage, but getting a couple of SCV kills here and double expanding down to the bottom left as well. Barracks, once again, going aggressive with his expansions.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is that even though Rush has a slightly more potent unit composition, it's going to be hard to leverage that. Attacking into these siege lines is still difficult, and just as he does so, the Vultures of Barracks shove their way forward, opening up more tanks for himself to come and be brought to bear. So the Vultures doing their job and just soaking up shots from the AI firing of Rush, and he is losing so many tanks, dropping in supply quite significantly here, and Barracks' game plan is working and going gangbusters right now, allowing himself to expand rapidly. There is a counter drop, though, from Rush at that 9 o'clock base. Maybe he can shut down mining and kill a lot of SCVs there. He certainly does need to find compensation in this game, and this is a great start.
That was a bit of a wild play from Rush, trying to gain ground in the middle of the map, but Barracks had so many reinforcements right there and ready to respond, and he did so with a great efficiency. Now Rush is managing to slow down some of these expansions, but he's failing to get expansions of his own. You can see ACC flying out right now, heading towards that top right, but this drop is going to counter him, and oh my gosh, he's going to lose so many SCVs here. Not responding very quickly with those, and so masses of kills end up going down. Can he target down the mines here as well? Mines being laid. One of them does connect. Very big mine there. Managing to clear out a lot of these tanks, but it's still not good enough. Barracks is going to survive with these tanks, it looks like. Keeping two Goliaths alive as well to just melt those SCVs.
Not only that, saying, but Barracks finished up his +2 attack upgrades not too long ago. Now two-shotting. You can see the observer pointing that out at the moment, that there's a massive advantage for Barracks. He's able to two-shot the siege tanks of Rush, whereas Rush is still three-shotting his. He's going to surge forward to this thinned-out line towards the rally point. This is the point of weakness that Barracks has been biding his time to exploit, finally pulling the trigger on that. There is a lot of tanks responding, a few cycling down from the north, as well as some from the rally point of Rush, trying to fight back strong. So far, so good as well. Successful in doing so, but he's not winning out on trades. There's a great great drop attempt here from Rush in the bottom left, but he can't get the kill on the CC. He can't completely shut down the mining, so Barracks is in a pretty good position. He's, what was that, 67 supply in advantage right now. That's insane. There is this additional 4th base coming up from Rush, but I mean, Barracks has 5 bases already established, and he's been trading pretty exceptionally well all game long.
Is being spread pretty thin at this point, and Rush is about to be exploited here by the map now. Oh, mine connection on a drop. That's one way that Terrans can come back in TVT. You accidentally drop a bunch of units on top of a mine and lose everything. That can really wind up throwing a game, but the position here is still vastly superior for Barracks. 60 supply advantage. Even a couple more blunders like that's not going to save him in this game.
Yeah, a lot more dropships being loaded up by Barracks, but Rush has caught up in that upgrade deficit, has finally got his +2 weapons online, has a floated command center to his natural 3rd in the bottom right to try and get his 5th base online, but there's some mines blocking that from landing, as well as some dropships now making their way downtown. There's 2 Wraiths ready to intercept that, so you might be thinking better of it. Beautiful scan from Rush identifying those dropships as well, but I'm not sure if the Wraiths can kill the dropships quick enough. They're going to get one of them, but not before allowing the majority of their units to come out anyway and put a bit of pressure, force a bit of a turnaround from Rush, which will also expose his frontal battle lines, allowing Barracks to come in with some units on the ground and put pressure on at the front as well.
Yeah, he's going to pull everything he can to try and save his main base. He's bringing SCVs out to fight as well, but the secondary load up into the main. Barracks remembers what happened last game, and he's going to repeat the same to Rush right now by loading up a second time and dropping into this main base.
Yeah, and it comes that 1-2 punch we were just talking about, applying pressure to that natural 3rd location on the ground while launching the dropships back into the corner of the main base, forcing a big reaction out of Rush, and he will be trading cost efficiently while Rush tries to deal with that. Maxed out now is Barracks on 200 supply to just 120 supply of Rush. He's drying up in this game. He's been unsuccessful in establishing his own 5th base as well during all of this, trying to do a bit of a counter drop here in the bottom left. It's technically doing okay, but nowhere near good enough to find the compensation he needs. More and more dropships being loaded up by Barracks to keep the pressure on. He might actually bring those dropships to bear in the bottom left if he can't. Okay, the SCVs do clean that up nicely in the bottom left, so he now will change direction on those dropships to put more pressure on Rush in this game. Once you're maxed out like this and you know you've got your opponent on the back foot, you want to keep that pedal all the way down.
Yeah, he's not letting him take a breath here. Another drop into the main base, and there's really nothing that Rush can do about it here. He's forced to defend in so many different areas, and Barracks is nearly maxed out here. He was maxed a moment ago. He's actually changed direction with these drops, funnily enough. He's not going to drop the main. Instead, going to maybe drop center right or top right. I'm not exactly sure, but he's going to start to shut down these expansions in just a moment here, dropping right on top of the mineral line for maximum damage. This could actually go a little bit bad for him, but either way, he still will lose a lot of SCVs. Whoa. GG is called. Barracks goes out first. Unreal.
Man, I mean, I kind of speculated at it being possible this guy breaks out of this group first, but I didn't necessarily think it would come to pass, and he's done it. I mean, more power to him. He's one of these up-and-coming players that is certainly deserving of some good results in the ASL, and he has found it here today in the round of 16, going out of his group 2-0, and that's not to say anything beyond the fact that he was able to crush Soulkey in his first match of the group as well. I mean, this guy is going gangbusters right now. Rush probably feeling a little bit disappointed with himself, but he's not out yet. He will be going through to that finals match, waiting to see if he will face off against either Soulkey or Effort. That'll be coming up next, and it's very possible that our back-to-back-to-back champion might be eliminated here in this Zerg versus Zerg losers match.
We're getting a bit of a replay on screen now. Right the moment when his siege mode finished up and Rush was blindsided by this attack. This moment right here was massive. Losing a tank before he could even engage, taking a bunch of damage on these tanks at the south as well. This was a very painful moment for Rush. You can see the panic as he tries to get everything together here to try and block this push, but he's just not able to set up that defense in time that drops into the main here. The revenge from Barracks. Definitely a bit of catharsis there as he drops the main base of Rush and takes him out in this manner.
Yeah, really well done from Barracks. And I mean, the only thing that's really been holding him back as a player is that Terran versus Protoss matchup. So I'm curious to see more from him in this tournament. Will he get a Protoss opponent to show us that he's a much more complete player now and he can handle all three matchups in style? Or will he avoid it completely? He might not even get. Yeah, these guys are definitely Barracks fans right now. They're happy to see their boy make it out of the group first. I think those were the two ladies giving us salutes earlier. They're going to be really happy seeing their guy go out of the group in this fashion, say. And not only 2-0, but eliminating Soulkey and pushing him down into that losers match is a big deal for Barracks.
What a hugely impactful moment here. Last season, Barracks was picked by Soulkey and ended up losing that group, getting eliminated in the round of 16. This year, picked again by Soulkey, but shows a completely different level and how much he's grown since that last season, getting out first. I mean, what a performance here from this guy.
Yeah, I'm super looking forward to having more from him in the round of 8 and beyond. This guy could go all the way. I certainly think he's capable of taking it, all the way at least to the semifinals here. I mean, and he is a contender. Like, there's no reason this guy couldn't go all the way. Like, yeah, hypothetically, Soulkey gets knocked out, the whole tournament is blown open. This guy can avoid too many TVPs. I mean, someone like Snow would probably destroy him in a best of 7, but if he can avoid too many of those circumstances, if he can just predominantly fight TVZs and TVTs all the way to the finals, I mean, he could do it.
Yeah, he absolutely could go deep here, especially if Soulkey gets eliminated, and he would be in no small part responsible for that elimination. That would be amazing, guys. I cannot wait to see that effort versus Soulkey game. It's it could be the end of an era here, Xun, and we'll be here to witness
Yeah.
it live.
Oh mate, you have mental backflips. Is the one way of explaining that what I'll be feeling if somehow Effort is the guy that takes out Soulkey and we get that end of era situation where the whole tournament just gets blown open and everyone's eyes bulge out of their heads as they eye up that prize of getting their championship title after a long time of being dealt with swiftly by the dominance of Soulkey. He's got 4 championships in a row, but that potential Penta title might not be ascertained by him this time. We could be seeing a new champion finally crowned in the ASL. Who knows? It might even be a Protoss.
I think that's highly likely, Xun. Protoss has been waiting for a victory here for a long time. Protoss players around the world have been complaining nonstop in every medium that you can imagine, YouTube comments and on Wikipedia. It's about time we got a Protoss champion, and I think Best and Snow absolutely deserving of one of those championships. If Soulkey gets taken out, they're one step closer.
Yeah, I know you guys are probably thinking that I'm overhyping the possibility of Soulkey being eliminated here, but the reality is is that he lost not only to Barracks, but ZVZ's his worst matchup. Just plain and simple. He's very dominant versus Terrans, versus Protoss. He's never had a good streak against Zergs. His own record speaks to that. He's literally 51% against Zerg and plus 60% in those other two matchups or something. It's just a reality. He's a bit of a coin flip in that ZVZ, and he's been able to historically avoid having to play any ZVZs. And Barracks kind of picked Effort here, and then Effort picked Soma, so it forced at least one Zerg to remain in the group. And in previous group selections, Soulkey's been able to avoid Zergs like the plague. So I really do feel like the possibility of Effort taking out Soulkey for the first time in 4 ASL seasons, it's very possible.
Yeah, it's absolutely possible here, Xun, and I'm just so excited to be here alive to witness it. If it does occur, this entire season becomes so much more exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Even if it doesn't, there's still a potential, there's still a possibility that Rush can take on Soulkey in that finals, although last season he seemed like he wasn't quite up to the task. Maybe this season he can turn it around.
Yeah, we didn't really get to see a long enough game between Rush and Effort to really see how on form Rush is. Right now, he could be playing spectacularly well, or a bit more mediocre compared to his usual range. We'll have to find out, guys. Run to the bathroom, grab some tip or whatever your drink of choice is, water and fruit or a beer, whatever. It doesn't matter. Go and join us back here in a couple of minutes. We've got that Soulkey versus Effort losers match. It's going to be insane.
Okay, guys, it's time. We're bringing it back now and getting ready for it. This ZVZ losers match. Didn't expect to see Soulkey here, but that upset with Barracks was pretty wild. I mean, that's kind of how, if you reverse the roles, this is how Soulkey's been dominating pretty much everybody in the scene for the past 4 years. He's just been pulling out builds that nobody saw coming and completely blindsiding players, and he got a bit of taste of his own medicine there today.
Yeah, absolutely, Saiyan. And I mean, historically speaking, between these two particular gamers, they haven't come face to face much. Like 2017, 2018, they had some games, kind of went back and forth between the two. So there's no real way of knowing which one of these gamers is going to be able to take this. Effort's just come back to playing after having some wrist injuries for a long time. So a bit of an advantage there to Soulkey. He's in a better form than maybe Effort is. But that's not to say that Effort can't come in here and just smash him. Like, Effort is a very strong Zerg versus Zerg players. Historically speaking, one of the better contenders in that mirror matchup. And Soulkey, you know, it's his worst matchup. He's closer to 50% in it. Whereas Effort, you know, in his previous stats, he's closer to like plus 60% in that matchup. So definitely an advantage for Effort in that regard. But it's still going to be a bit of a mountain to climb to knock out our reigning champion.
Absolutely. Going to be a hard-fought match here. I think either way, Effort is a monstrous player who I've been covering a bit on my channel as well. Yeah. Watching his play on the ladder has been a blast. He has been putting out so many games and taking on a lot of the best players in the world. Showing off kind of a unique style as well. A little bit different than Soulkey in the way that he dominates players.
Yeah, a little bit of pursing of the lips there from Soulkey, but he usually has that kind of expression before a game gets underway. He knows this is his most risky matchup, but I'm sure he's still calm and collected. He is the reigning champion, very full of himself, the entitled child of the StarCraft scene with that 4-star general jacket right now. Big sigh there from Soulkey, getting some much needed oxygen into his system. This is going to be a big fight for his tournament life right now. The first map's going to be Polestar. He's against Effort, one of the best Zerg versus Zerg players of all time.
Yeah, he's none too happy about this situation. This is what he's been avoiding for years. An elimination match against Zerg. Here we go.
We're about to find out the ASL Season 20 losers match in the round of 16, Group A between Effort and Soulkey. It's going to get all kinds of crazy up in here. Let's get it started.
Effort. Top left. Soulkey. Bottom right. Cross map situation.
Yeah.
We're going to see these guys manage to navigate the early game and bring us into a mid and late game Zerg versus Zerg. The chances are slim, but we'll hold out hope. Generally in Zerg versus Zerg, things come to a head in one base versus one base, or one base versus two base, but occasionally when both players manage to get both bases up and online without losing in the early stages, we can see some interesting tech choices and transitions. It's such a rare thing to occur, but it has been happening more recently as of late, similar to how Terran versus Terran used to be long and it slowly became faster and faster. We're kind of having the opposite effect here in ZVZ.
Right. Now let's see if Soulkey's going to throw down a hatchery or a pool first, because we got a 9-pool gas trick from Effort. Okay, going to be an 11-pool from Soulkey here. And I want to point out that Effort actually reverse Overlord scouted. he sent his Overlord down into the bottom left. And what I mean by that is, you can see the scouting pattern of Soulkey is to identify a quick hatchery first in the natural here, whereas Effort can't see that Soulkey has expanded with this Overlord scout by sending it to the main base in the bottom left. So Effort's hoping to catch an Overlord scouting his direction from the bottom left, or the scouting Overlord from the bottom right position as well. And he went for a very fast pull, so he wants to see if he can identify the location of his opponent rather than whether or not he went for a hatchery first in the natural. Seems like Soulkey's gone for a very middle-of-the-road style here with this 11 pull into hatchery. Oh, Effort being very sneaky, taking a hatchery at the 9 o'clock before his gas here.
Ooh, this is something special. Effort. Sending out 6 lings to go pressure. He's going to find the lings of Soulkey. Unfortunately for him, like, I see what he's doing here, right? He scouts bottom left with his Overlord first, that reverse scout. And then seeing that there's no creep, he knows that there's no Overlord coming this direction. And he can safely build his hatch in the center left. Will that Overlord of Soulkey, though, turn in time so that Effort's base doesn't get scouted? We'll have to see. It's on a trajectory right now to actually scout that hatchery that's being built by Effort, and that could be tragic.
Right, and I mean, Effort has to be careful as well. Like, it's very possible that Soulkey got speed first in this game and could have a faster speed timing. You see, Soulkey's actually worried about a potential attack from Effort. He's got 2 drones in position to body block and provide assistance to his Zerglings in the natural, just for a moment here, just in case this was a 9 pull speed opening from Effort, and he doesn't see that attack come in. So now Soulkey will be a little bit confused temporarily while he tries to identify what this is going to be. If he sees that creep at the 9 o'clock, now he sees it. So now he's fully aware of what's going on here from Effort. It's a bit of an ambitious gambit. The fact that Soulkey has seen this base here at the 9 o'clock is huge, because say if Soulkey was to go for a Ling contain at the bottom of Effort's ramp or something, Effort could still do a run by with Lings. Now that Soulkey knows this hatchery is here at the 9 o'clock, this opens up the game completely.
Yeah, it does. Oh, he's going to spot these lings, though, heading down around the bottom side, and I think he's aware now that Soulkey is coming for him. He's building drones over at this base in center left. Effort's gambit is not going to end up paying off here, Xun. He's going to be in a world of hurt.
Right. Yeah, it's unfortunate, because if somehow Soulkey didn't identify that with the Overlord, maybe this would really pay off in a big way. I mean, Soulkey's going to contain at the bottom of the ramp, but him knowing about this base at the 9 o'clock helps out a lot. He's going to keep some Zerglings back at home to prevent run-bys here. So he's not going to be caught with his pants down like he would if he didn't know about this base at the 9. He's going to be trying to take this gas's effort. It's really hard for him to defend this base, but he's going to attempt to do so anyway and just make some drones here. He's taking a bit of a gamble, knows he's in a tough spot, and needs to just hope that the stars align for him going forward. Soulkey going to be getting spores out to defend against this Mutalisk timing of Effort, but maybe Soulkey won't be able to kill this base at the 9 o'clock, so there might still be a way of Effort finding his way back into this game.
You know, I thought that I thought that Soulkey was gonna just build nonstop lings, hold the bottom of the ramp from Effort, and then go send 2 lings over here to deal with this base. But did he actually see the base? Because he must
have done. He saw the creep, right?
I thought so, but he didn't send anything to go harass that location. He's going to be sitting here back at home right now with the Sunken Colony and quite a few lings, but Effort gets a very good trade, very good surround on a lot of those lings initially. Pretty decent trade, but overall Soulkey will hold the position. Mutas are on the way now for Effort, but enough spores are here that Soulkey shouldn't take massive damage. He's still going to keep this base alive, though Effort is.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a weird situation because, like, Effort on the one hand, he needs to attack a little bit there because he needs to open up supply for more Mutalisks so that he can keep his production alive without having to build an early Overlord. But he doesn't want to lose too many Zerglings that he opens himself up to a counterattack. I would say he kind of nailed it. He needed to lose, like, maybe 2 less Zerglings to make that perfect. So it makes total sense for him to poke in there and do what he did just so that he can, you know, get a good... Oh, he loses a Mutalisk to the Scourge of Soulkey, though. Needs to be careful. He cannot afford to allow the Mutalisk to fall in that fashion.
Wait. how did he lose a Muta there?
I don't know.
That's crazy. Oh, I mean, we just watched a professional gamer fly his Mutas in and immediately lose one. This is something that happens consistently in my B rank games, but this is not something that should be happening in an ASL round of 16. Crazy. Now there's an opportunity here for Soulkey to start to shove everything back. Effort had the advantage in the air, but every Scourge that connects is insane value. Whenever you connect one pair of Scourge or any Scourge onto these Mutas, you're just gaining value, and that's all Soulkey really needs to do here. He's not sending out anything to go attack that 9. I think he might not have seen that, Xun. It's as crazy as it sounds. I don't think he saw that creep.
I mean, he should have done. If he hasn't, then I can't even make an excuse for him. That's just not acceptable at that point. But he hasn't sent out any Zerglings to harass it. I mean, you could argue that maybe he doesn't want to do that because he's worried about an all-in Zergling play from Effort. Oh, he's might kind of try and get on top of the Mutalisk of Effort with the support of the Scourge, but Effort has a massive Muta advantage with only 1 Spore in the main. That's, I think, a bit of a mistake here from Soulkey. Usually you go for 2 Spores in the main. He's trying to get away with 1. That might come back to haunt him. There's an Effort can abuse these bottom few patches and deny mine. He's going to dive onto the Spore, get 2 volleys for it for free. Now going to go and try micro down against the Scourge. Some do connect though and kill. Some of the Mutalisks of Effort kills another one as well. So he's down to just 8 Mutalisks, 2 of them on low HP. Finally, the Zerglings of Soulkey making their way downtown to put on some counter pressure. There's a few Zerglings on the ramp to buy some time for Effort, but maybe not enough to completely hold.
Yeah, I think he might hold just with the rallies here. He's going to dive into the main right now. Can he get some connections? Just going to go ahead and just eat these Scourge hits. That's crazy, but he actually gets the kill on that Spore colony and now can go to work on the Spire here. Oh my goodness. I think he's done it.
Wow.
He's going to kill the Spire.
He's killing the Spire. He's going to lose his own Spire, but not before he squeezes out a few more Mutalisks as well. He might lose his main base, but so will Soulkey. What a crazy base trade scenario we have. There's definitely a bigger advantage, though, to Effort with the additional count of Mutalisks in the sky. He's going to just bring his drones to attack the Spore. I thought he was going to bring his drones to the natural of Soulkey to help finish the job. I don't think that's actually going to just... Oh! Catches 2 of the Mutalisks of Soulkey with some Scourge as well. Might even save that lair with a couple of rallied Mutalisks as well. Going to be transferring those drones back to safety. Effort is doing it, man.
He's actually making it happen right now. It's crazy that Soulkey didn't find out about that base. I cannot wait for the Jin 5000 video for all the pros reacting. Oh god, he sees it right now. Oh, look at his head. He throws his head to the side there. Soulkey has been completely bamboozled in this game.
No way. He should have seen the creep spread with his Overlord. That's unacceptable. Yeah, tap out. GG, buddy. That's on you.
Unreal. I mean, he had the scout. He had it. He saw it with the Overlord. Everything was revealed. And Soulkey, he pulled it back. He must have used the mini-map to pull back the Overlord rather than looking with his own eyes, and Effort gets the first win in the series. He's doing it, and Soulkey here, he looks shaken.
Wow, he looks rattled. The 4-time champion is rattled, biting his finger, wondering what even happened. How did I not see that creep spread with my Overlord? I should have been able to identify that, completely shut down that play, at least sent in a few links to stab the drones. I would have been in a much better position. As it stands, though, our Alien Zerg 1-0 up in this loser match series. Game point in knocking out the current reigning champion and completely blowing this tournament over, Saiyan.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone could have seen this coming, Xun. We're 1 game away from a wide open tournament. Effort has his hand on the door, his fingers wrapped around the doorknob here. All he needs to do is pull it open, and this tournament is just completely changed for the better, I feel. If Soulkey gets knocked out here, who is favored to win ASL 20?
Well, we're about to find out, saying the ASL Season 20 losers match. Soulkey versus Effort. Let's get it on, guys. This is Group A of the round of 16. It's all kicking off already. It's going to be litmus.
Effort over in the top right. Soulkey down in the bottom right. And here on Litmus, this is a super interesting map, Xun. Very glad that we're going to see another ZVZ here. We had one in that all Zerg group. By the way, that is the Zerg group that Effort managed to get out of. And yeah, I'm sure that a lot of you guys probably skipped that group in the round of 24. Not really interested in ZVZ, but it was a heck of a group. Effort got out 2-0. So just showing a little bit more of his confidence in this matchup. Smashing it.
Yeah.
And now here, what will he have in store for this game?
I feel vindicated, saying I talked this guy up. I explained how good he is in ZVZ. Maybe you guys didn't listen to me, but, you know, sucks to be you, I guess, because look at this. He is a match point with the current reigning champion. Yes, it might still be a bit of an arduous task in finishing out this series. Soulkey could pull it back 2 games in a row. He's definitely a strong player when he is in his gaming mindset, but the reality is that he's, you know, maybe a little bit shaken by that game number 1. Might be having a bit of a hard time finding that flow state and performing at his absolute maximum caliber. We see a faster pull timing from Effort this time around, and a very quick 11 hatch in the main base from Soulkey. I explained to you when we first saw these maps that I thought that a hatchery first in the main base was a very strong way to open up here, Sam.
I definitely agree with you, Xun. I've seen a lot of 6 pool on this map, I think because of that fact as well. But if you can get away with it, definitely an 11 hatch in the main would be extremely strong. Look at this hatchery over at the top left. He's going to build a Sim City. Yeah, he's going to build a Sim City around that. It's going to be a slightly worse build than what Soulkey has right now, but they're both aiming for the same thing. Getting both of these gases online off of one base with 2 hatcheries and just massing up for that Mutalisk transition.
Yeah, I like the Sim City that you can go for on this map, and we saw Calm do a very similar setup with the hatchery, the way it's positioned here for Effort. I'm super curious, saying, like, I can't even believe that we get to cast and watch these games right now. It's absolutely insane how good this tournament already is shaking up to be. Even if Soulkey does come back and fight through and keep hold of his tournament life, players will still be eyeing him up. Like, maybe he's not as strong of a contender as previous seasons, and maybe they can still take him out in the round of 8 and beyond as well.
Absolutely. The reign of terror seems to be over. Soulkey's not looking as punishingly strong as he once did. Both players getting some vision inside of each other's base now for the first time. This is a feature of 2-player maps. You're guaranteed to scout your opponent, and once you get that information, seeing the timings here, can start to react and figure out what your opponent's up to, figure out the best way to deal with what they're going for. Spires on the way now. No second gas on either side, but expect to see those taken here pretty soon. Neither player really banking up lings at the moment.
Yeah, so let's point out the differences here. So obviously it's a very slightly faster Spire for Effort, but the reality is that with the, you know, the distance it takes to get those muters into the main base of Soulkey, he will be fine with his own timings. And Soulkey himself, you know, he has a slight eco advantage. You can see 23 to 20 supply, so he's going to be squeezing out more minerals here than Effort overall. But that doesn't necessarily mean either player will easily win from this position. It just means that, you know, there's tiny differences that players can utilize here. So, you know, Effort could go on the aggressive and try and use that small tempo advantage for having a slightly earlier spire so that you can put the pressure on Soulkey. And Soulkey can just sit back and utilize that eco advantage to try and consolidate his lead by being able to mine 3 on gas very quickly like Effort is, but having more minerals to spend that gas.
Ooh, Effort had to cancel I think it was an Overlord here making, and go for a Sunken Colony. He's actually skipped gas, and so he's saving up a lot of his gas here for that Mutalisk timing. And Soulkey is going to force him to build more Lings right now by going in for that Ling attack. There should be a few more sets of Lings popping out here in a second. There's the Sunken Colony going after some drone kills. Can he get anything here for his efforts? He's built a lot of Lings here, but he had that eco advantage. Every single drone right now is super important, and Effort lost just 1 drone. Really good handling here.
I think 2.
2 drones.
No, yeah.
Still.
I think 2.
Very good handling, but the more important thing is losing a lot of mining time. Effort not going to be able to spend all of his money the moment that this pops out, and that gave Soulkey a little bit of time to catch up in overall gas mining.
Yeah, absolutely. He already had a bit of a eco lead. Now that's going to be compounding even more. Effort's compensation will be trying to catch a couple of these overlords on the periphery of Soulkey. Won't necessarily supply block him, but there is another 100 minerals that Soulkey will have to utilize later on. Trying to catch a Mutalisk with some Scourge on the main base, or at least trade 1-for-1 with the Scourge of Effort. Has traded 1 Scourge for 1 Scourge so far. And now it looks like Effort wants to dive in and try and out-micro Soulkey, getting a free volley off on the Mutalisk pack. Just 5 Mutas here for Soulkey. 2 have been taking Scourge hits as well, so they're like pretty much one shot from the Mutas of Effort right now. Good micro from Effort, killing one of the Scourge of Soulkey as well. Target fires that low HP Muta as well. 4-4 right now in the skies. Soulkey, though, does even things out. Does get another beautiful Scourge connection as well. Effort in a little bit of trouble, but still wants to try and see if he can come in here with his own Scourge. Does kill this Mutalisk of Soulkey. Both players losing Mutas to Scourge.
Yeah, both players just rapidly firing here back and forth, trying to snipe each other's Scourge and get the connections that they need. 2 Mutas stuck on the outside now. Effort being a little bit quicker with the rallies has actually gotten on top of the Mutas. And he's gonna get a kill. Every one of these kills is so impactful, and Effort is actually making this this comeback work with just a few extra kills here with the Scourge.
Yeah, he trades off the Scourge for Scourge because he knows there's now 3 Mutas. He could one-shot that. Has got 2 Zerglings that were thinking about a stab, but with the Mutas now not under threat, be better to save those Lings for later to come in when Soulkey's distracted. Effort really trying to ramp up the small tempo advantage he had by putting the pressure on Soulkey early. Now going to be coming in with those Zerglings to distract and pull out those Mutas from ideal positioning, allowing him to try and get on top of those with his Muta Scourge. Now he has the Scourge advantage. Can he find connections? Some Scourge popping out for Soulkey. He might be able to defend this still. Just 2 Mutas remaining for Soulkey with Scourge in position to catch him. Look at that boxing from Effort. Beautifully done, taking out all of the Mutalists. There is a lot of Scourge now. Effort still has to be careful not to lose his own Mutalist to those Scourge. He starts to trade 1-for-1 to even things out. 2 Zerglings coming into the main base. Won't find any damage though, but he has killed all of the Mutalisks in the air. Effort showing some exceptionally high level micro.
Yeah, and the rallies once again kind of saving Effort by surrounding those Mutas as they were being chased, or as he was chasing the Mutas of Soulkey. He's trying to get this kill on the Muta. Soulkey relegated to just building basically non-stop Scourge. He gets the hit. This is it. He's going to get it. Oh, but a big trade back. He kills so many Mutas there. He killed a Muta, and he got 2 more hits on the Scourge. So Soulkey with the bait actually kind of flipping the script on Effort now, who has to run away. That was almost it, man. Soulkey was down to his last Mutas, and he loses another one here. Effort falling apart a little bit. He's trying to pop out a couple more drones. As you can see, the rallies coming across the map. That's definitely not how you want to do it at this point.
This is insane. I mean, this is a back and forth match between these two. There was a teeny tiny advantage for Effort, but Soulkey has been able to equalize ever so slightly now So it will be a little bit more challenging for Effort to come in and punish Soulkey after taking those additional Scourge hits. You're going to try and go for a Gambit, see if you can get some connections. Nice micro from Soulkey, shutting out Effort from finding that free. Oh, he kills the Mutalisk anyways. It hatches out of the egg. This is rough for Soulkey. As soon as he starts to stabilize, Effort finds a way of just sneaking ahead in the trades ever so slightly again.
I'm so shocked that Effort's able to get these hits, but he's doing such a fantastic job of surrounding and forcing the move commands, like forcing the Scourge to connect. There's such dumb units that have such a difficult time dealing damage on their own. You have to move them perfectly and get the attacks in while being right on top of your opponent's mutas. Now, both players just kind of sitting back, licking their wounds, building up this Mutalisk count. But it actually has to be talked about now, Xun. How long until that first gas starts to run dry?
Yeah, that's the reality, is that, I mean, there's only 3,000 gas on this, so usually they're mining out, you know, closer to that sort of like 18, 19 minute mark. Not so. They're mining out like 3 minutes quicker, technically speaking. It's rough, man. Like 5 minutes quicker, sorry. It's kind of brutal, like how much quicker they're going to be mined out on this gas, which makes the trading even more important, because you're not going to have gas for days. So every muta will be precious at the end of the day, and there has now been a significant advantage of mutas that have been produced by Effort. Soulkey's going to try and equalize that by making a single spore. It's like 10 or so mutas to 7, and now then Effort went into making Scourge as well to support his own mutalist. So Soulkey needs some kind of backup plan, and it seems like that's going to be a spore to help even things out. But there's no reason why Effort can't put on the pressure and maybe kill some of these overlords on the periphery and supply block Soulkey. That'd be a good gambit, actually. The only reason Effort's not going for that is he's worried about not reading the positioning of the Mutalisks of Soulkey to the point where Soulkey does some counter damage for free, or like some Zerglings get in or what have you. So he needs to be really careful not to throw his tiny lead right now. So that's why he's hesitant to put the pressure onto Soulkey. But in the reality is that he could put the pressure on Soulkey by killing these overlords on the periphery.
He doesn't have a spore back at home, though. That could open him up to some Scourge coming in and sniping Mutalisks that are popping out of the eggs. So yeah, he's being very careful right now. Scourge here, way more spread out for Soulkey, and that can lead to a much better engagement. We'll see if Soulkey's able to get the engage now as he comes in towards this main base. Yeah, see that wide spread of Scourge. So much tighter packed here for Effort, but he's going to go for the hits now. Can he actually get some of these? Looks like the Scourge are going to connect way better here for Soulkey, but who ends up ahead at the end of the day? It looks like Effort barely has the advantage. Maybe 1 muta more? 2 mutas more.
11 to 9. Yeah, 11 to 9. Really well done there from Effort to stabilize his position in this game. That massive flock of Scourge from Soulkey not doing the heavy lifting it was supposed to. He's now going to try and sneak a drone out onto the map to try and take a ninja expansion. It's another comeback mechanic that he can utilize. These gas geysers will be mined out in a few minutes, or start to be. And if he can somehow sneak out a ninja base, that's another way that Soulkey can come back in this game. But just playing heads up like this, like balls to the walls with Effort, he's in a little bit of trouble. He catches Soulkey's mutas out of position a little bit. Scourge do connect, though, on Effort's muta list, but there's a superior count of mutas flying in the air for Effort right now. Soulkey in a lot of trouble. Effort can also chase micro these down. Is Effort about to knock out the current reigning champion? Hand on the back of the head. GG is called, and Effort has knocked out the 4-time champion of Soulkey from the ASL season 20, saying, what are we even watching?
Wow, there it is, boys. Soulkey is out. The stars have indeed aligned. Woo! And a pure beam of energy has been sent through Effort to just decimate Soulkey and knock him out of this tournament. Those stars on your jacket do not matter here, Soulkey. You're going home today.
Wow.
And yeah, this is crazy. He opens the door to the entire tournament.
Wow,
Effort,
in
the
honor
absolute hero here of ASL 20.
in honor of your Canadian roots and the Trailer Park Boys, I hate to say a Toadasill, but a Toadasill.
Oh my goodness. Well, there's going to be so many theories about what happened here today with Soulkey, losing to Barracks originally and then missing the scout there on the center left. I cannot wait for that video, that translated video of the pros' reaction to what happened here tonight, Xun. Just pandemonium from these players. And now effort going up against Rush. I mean, he has to get through now, right? I mean, he can't beat Soulkey and then lose in the final match.
I mean, you'd hope not, but let's be real, guys. Just having the accolade of being the guy that knocked out Soulkey, that's a winner in of itself. And even if he does somehow lose out to Rush in this finals match, he's still going home the people's champion.
All right, guys, we're going to commercial break. When we get back, that final match. Don't go away. Ooh, take a breath, boys. We just witnessed history. Effort. The God Killer. Shut down Flash in his prime. Won ASL 6. He's come back once again to destroy a legacy, to end the reign of terror of Soulkey, and he just did it, guys, in the round of 16, taking out the 4-time champion. I bet Soulkey is wishing he had moved Effort out of his group rather than Soma. My goodness. The hindsight 2020 on that one.
Yeah, man. I mean, it is what it is. Unfortunately, the aliens are just too much to handle. This guy is a beast of a player way back in the Casper era. We're talking 2009. He went 25 wins to 3 losses at the end of that winners league, and he was beating out Flash and Jaedong like it was nothing. Don't sleep on this guy. The only person with a more impressive record is the likes of I Love Uve, with just a couple of extra wins of a similar record. This guy is an absolute monster of a man, and he's here today to prove himself in that finals match against Rush. This is going to be such an epic series.
Yeah, there's so many great Zergs right now. We got Soma, Effort, and Jaedong as well. Another dominant player from the Kespa era is showing his true colors once again. The Tyrant is back. But can he stand up to Effort as well? Well, first we need to see Effort get through Rush here. Can he make his way into the next round?
Get hyped, guys, because the ASL Season 20 Round of 16 finals match between Effort and Rush. And the map, it's going to be Metropolis. Let's get it on.
Effort. Spawning bottom left. Rush. Top right. And guys, if you're enjoying the cast so far, would really appreciate your support. The Saiyan Xun duo cast at Patreon. If you're watching on StarCastTV right now on the YouTube channel, the links in the description, those are for supporting StarCastTV themselves. If you want to give us some of your support, the casters that you're hearing right now, Saiyan and Xun, go over to SAIYANXUN duo cast on Patreon and give us a hand. Help us keep doing this indefinitely into the future, because we love bringing you guys these live casts.
Absolutely, Saiyan. And just so you know, if Patreon isn't your thing, I believe there's a pinned message on that Patreon page with links to our PayPal. Any love and support you send our way is so greatly appreciated. Honestly, Saiyan, I can only speak for myself when I said it's been an extremely humbling, the amount of love and support that has been pouring in from you guys recently. It means the world to us. I mean, it's really spectacular. And if that continues onwards, I can't be more appreciative for you. So thank you to everyone.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you so much for your support. Now, hopping into this match, we've got Effort opening with a 12 hatchery Rush over here in the top right. Cross map situation. Is going to be setting up his wall, and it's a very reasonable wall here in top right on Metropolis. He can pop Marines on the inside and has only one spot where units can slip through there at the top of his supply depot. So very safe wall here. We'll see if he wants to go into a +1, an early +1 build, because that's been very trendy recently. But
right,
it would also be highly predictable, and maybe Effort has something planned for that.
Yeah, you have to wonder if Effort's already got this mapped out, that this was a potential eventuality, that he would be here in this finals match against a Terran player. Certainly in the realms of possibility, and it has come to pass. And certainly a very capable contender. It is cross-map on Metropolis, and has to be said, this is a slightly Terran-favored map by about 5% percentile points or what have you. So a bit of a 55 to 45 kind of split in terms of advantage, and it is cross map as well, harder to get your Mutalisks in to pressure the Terran player. And you can do some tech-telt plays here, 1-1-1 builds into Valkyries and what have you. A lot of build order variety the Zerg has to be aware of. So let's see what Effort's got in store for Rush.
Yeah, it's an interesting map in that it took a little while for Terran players to figure out how exactly to position turrets in the mineral line at the natural. At first, players were kind of putting them in behind a lot of the time, but they... because there is that extra space behind the mineral patches, they thought, well, we might as well place our turrets back there. But turns out putting them right in the mineral line as usual is the superior play. And there's no ledge right there, aside from here on the right-hand side, that can be abused easily to just dive in on those turrets and snipe SCVs. So it's actually a reasonable place to defend against Mutas.
Absolutely. It's a bit deceptive in that regard. You'd think that the way it's open would actually make it easier for Mutas to be annoying, but the reality is that it's actually easier for the Terran without that cliff edge to keep, bouncing your Mutalisk back to prevent fire and force a floating building or something needing to be there to provide vision to catch those Mutas as they dart in and out from that high ground position. I think that SCV just barely saw that third hatchery in the main as well, so he's fully aware this is a macro-centric 2.5 hatchery style here from Effort.
Here comes the speed on those Lings now. Rush is indeed going for a +1 build. Now, this can be punished by a flood of Lings if Effort builds up to a bunch of... Looks like he's actually built some drones here, so... just a standard number of Lings looks like what's coming out right now, but we have seen in previous times, Lings en masse kind of break open these lighter on Marine openers. Not going to be the case here. Effort just getting ready for this Mutalisk transition. Where is he going to take his third hatchery, though? He's got a third in the main, or third hatch in the main. Where is his third base going to go, though? It looks like he's aiming up towards that top left, potentially. But this map is pretty good for Hydralisk Defiler. If he wants to take that closer base, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, and it looks like that Rush is going for a light style 4 racks here. Rushing into that +1, and I think, 5 racks +1. Whoa, okay. Whoa. He's really wanting to be aggressive. This is a very semi-all-in way of playing this kind of matchup, and he will be needing to do damage with this. This was a free hatchery before gas. It's not as important to get damage. You still need to do something with the trading against the Mutalisk, but against a more 2 hatchery style tech timing, you're slowing down your factory by so much that you really have to do a lot of heavy lifting to make this build order work and transition if you don't just kill your opponent outright. So yeah, a lot of risk being taken by Rush, but he's pretty sure that he can do necessary damage. He knows Effort is a more macro-centric style of Zerg, and he might just be weak enough defensively while he's transitioning into his lurkers that maybe he can make a big gambit here and it'll pay off. And Effort's done a very macro style here. He's gone for just 5 Mutalisks to apply pressure, but he's mainly just transitioning right now.
This is perfect for Effort. I'm a bit sad that we didn't see where the scan went off. Oh, he's got burrow here. That's hilarious. Got the burrow very early on. He's going to go ahead and snipe a couple of Marines, but he's switching right into Hydra and going into Lurker. So he's going to get some Lurkers over here in the top left, kind of reminiscent of that old Kespa era ZVT, where you put Lurkers right on the ramp and just try to block and barely survive the Marine pressure to get that third base out. He's not going to have the easy 4th base later on, but he will have a pretty easily to defend 3rd up here in the top left. And look at this, Rush sees it. He's going to respond immediately, but Lurkers are already on the way. It's so strong against a 5 racks like what we're seeing out of Rush.
So you can see him morph the lurker egg at the back first, so that's going to finish up before the egg wall actually hatches. So he'll have 1 lurker laying down some subterranean spine connections onto those Marines before the wall can be broken by these Mutalisks. He's going to try and target fire these eggs as best he can, but you can see the lurker now just finishing potentially in the nick of time here. Rush will still attempt to break through against this if he wanted to, but it's a bit tricky. With that finished lurker in the back, it's just so hard to commit your forces to that ramp. So he wisely backs away, and Effort successful in his transition now for the time being, even with some hold position lurkers out here on the map. And Rush is in trouble. He needs to find damage with this build order.
Yeah, we're seeing the kind of downfall, the difficulty of playing 5 racks +1 in the modern era is that the transition timings are just so much quicker. And Effort, he just completely identified what Rush was up to, and his transition is on point here. He's got lurkers on high ground. He's maneuvering other lurkers around to try and look for hold position lurker plays, and he might in fact get a huge round of spines on some of these Marines as they try to traverse up here to the top left. I'm looking at that extra little bile ball that's kind of hanging out here in the front, waiting to be reinforced. Tanks are coming out here, but this is pretty behind schedule in terms of like a regular 4 racks +1. The 5 racks +1 has slowed down his timings by a lot.
I mean, we saw Effort play a little bit like this in the KCM recently, right? With these borrowed Zerglings for scouting purposes and allowing him to make tactical decisions on the fly with how he positions his lurkers or mutalisks accordingly. And this is a really big deal, having these scouting. Oh no, please don't tell me he's gonna. Oh, he's gonna put him in hold position, but he's gonna lose the Marines anyway. Rush taking a lot of damage to that. He will be able to clean up these lurkers, but losing a decent chunk of those bioforces. There's a pair of Scourge as well to intercept that dropship. Looks like Rush is aware of those Scourge and is going to try and circumvent Disaster and try and get around those. Another pack of lurkers being taken out, but that's really taken a dent into the Terran force here to make this potential tank bust timing a little bit weaker.
He's going to put another lurker on the low ground here, see if he can't get another hold position, or at least he's going to force a... He's going to force another scan. He should be able to unburrow run. No, he's not going to. Link's coming in from behind. Effort has still 3 lurkers on that high ground. The drop is just kind of hanging out here on the side. Guardians being morphed right now. He knows all he needs to do is hang on to this position for a little bit longer, and he will survive. So those Guardians are the stopgap. Running up the ramp right now. Rush gonna try to break here. It's suicide to run up that ramp with 3 lurkers alive and well there. Not enough scan. Forced out those extra scans. That's the purpose. Oh, he lost the vessel. I think he just lost a vessel there. One of those vessels goes down, and one more making its way up here, but it's not going to arrive in time, and the tanks will die.
My mouth is hanging open. I'm just so blown away by how well Effort's playing today. It's killing me how good this guy is. He's an interdimensional alien Zerg here to completely disrupt the current ebb and flow of this particular universe. I mean, what are we even watching today? Really high level stuff. And yeah, the use of the Guardians is pinnacle. Gives you just a few extra seconds of tempo before those Defilers can be ready. He's going to be a little bit more aggressive with them. I'm not sure I completely agree with Effort bringing them to bear like this, but it will bait out some irradiates possibly and slow down an expansion timing. If Rush wanted to double expand right now, it's very common for Terrans to double expand in this position and try and play catch up, but these Guardians are going to slow down that possibility, and even just baiting out an irradiate or 2 would be a nice value from them after killing tanks. They've already kind of done their job, so they're just being a little bit annoying now.
I mean, Effort. This game needs to be studied by the StarCraft historians, man, as just like, it's crazy what we're getting to see here today. Just some of the most big brain plays you've ever seen, and huge plague to follow up. Oh, if these Scourge were to connect, that would be absolutely massive. He gets 1 vessel. He could have gotten 2 there, though. I mean, Effort is firing at such a high level here today. He's playing at 380 APM, but it looks like he's playing at 600 APM.
Right, he was 500 APM in that Zerg versus Zerg. He's playing a little bit more relaxed right now, but he's certainly capable of really firing on all cylinders and getting those pistons just chugging away. Rush, he's doing a great job of trying to fight back in this game, but it's not looking like there's much comeback potential. I mean, he's got this base at the 3 o'clock, but Effort's done a great job in shutting out a double expansion effort. Looks like Rush wants to find some counter damage. Can he break through and kill this 4th base from Effort? Shutting down the gas mining of the Zerg would be pinnacle. He has got some firebats on even Darkstorm, but it might not be enough. Effort had 2 perfectly positioned Cheeto Cloud Dusts here. And it does seem like there's no real way of Rush punching through, unfortunately, and allowing the Zerg to get this 4th gas uncontested while you're unable to take a 4th base. I mean, Rush is just in trouble.
He is in deep, deep trouble now. There should be some Scourge coming along here shortly as Effort begins to transition into his eventual Ultralisk play. Ling's just mowing through a bunch of plagued units, and this 4th gas is going to come online. There's so many hatcheries here for Effort. He's just exploding in his overall production, adding on those drones while doing all of this tactical play. It's just pristine what he's able to pull off.
Yeah, eventually he's going to start launching counterattacks at this 3 o'clock as well to stretch Rush a little bit. Then Mutalisk does manage to kill one of those plague vessels in time before falling. He's catching these Marines before they've had time to go into the bunker. So this 3 o'clock is actually exposed a little bit now. Rush not on top of everything. He's going to lose that bunker for free. Marines unable to get there in time, and suddenly the position's blown open. He's going to have to pull back his forces slightly to reconsolidate his position and defend this exposed base. Effort's going to do another continued counterattack with some Zerglings there soon, and without a bunker being ready or some firebats, this is going to be a bit of a problem for Rush.
Yeah, Rush just not quite able to keep up with all the moves from Effort, and there's going to be another big plague here, no doubt. At the same time, an attack with just a single Defiler and some Lings making its way into the 3rd. That's not going to be able to, he's not going to be able to shut that down either. Suddenly, all the Marines are gone, and SCVs are under threat once again. Dude, Effort is holding onto these 4 bases like it's nothing while counterattacking and doing a fantastic job. I know it sounds like I'm glazing Effort too much, but I would argue it's not enough. This guy is playing absolutely out of his mind.
I mean, this guy needs a masseuse, not just a glazing right now. It's crazy how good he's playing. He has got this base exposed, though, in the top left, so Rush might get some damage here, as well as killing some of those Scourge for free. Ultras, though, very good at cleaning up these kinds of drop plays. Will be popping through that Nidus Canal network with 4-1 upgrades just finishing up, and with some Lurkers and Sunkens at the natural. Going to be able to hold that counterattack from Rush as well. Forcing a trade in the natural by keeping the bio pinned into the natural expansion. Effort is just an absolute macro monster right now. I mean, this is his forte. He's such a strong macro Zerg. When he gets underway with all these additional bases, he really starts to pull you apart limb from limb. He's taking a 5th base at the 9 o'clock. Finally, Rush getting that 2nd expansion up at the 12 o'clock, but it might be too little too late, and he's already not able to mine at the 3 o'clock, and his borrowed Zergling stopping that CC from landing, saying
He's desperate for damage right now, but diving in and trying to deal damage to a player with Ultralisk at this point in the game is a little bit crazy. He's going to get on top of this natural, jumping through the Nidus Canals here on either side. Effort was a little bit cavalier with his Ultras earlier, but he is starting to get into this natural. Can he get another Darkstorm here? He's paying attention to too many places at the same time. He's starting to lose control over the natural in the top left. Rush is starting to make some progress here with the D-Matrix and the Lings getting cleaned up. I guess there's only 3-4 Marines left. I believe Effort will hold this, but it's getting a little close for comfort right now for Effort.
Yeah, he's having a little bit hard time to keep up with all the task switching that's going on right now. So not necessarily the most optimal cleanups here from Effort. But, I mean, with that 5th base coming online, it's only a matter of time. The writing's on the wall. The letters might be falling soon here for Rush if he's not careful. He needs to ramp up this aggression and non-stop apply pressure to Effort and target fire down those Ultralisks one at a time. But there's now 5 Ultras with Ling support running it down. This is a little bit problematic for Rush, to say the least. He's got some Scourge connecting on science vessels while the cows go to work, and he might be moving all the way home soon, saying Irradiate acting as a double-edged sword as well, helping splash through those Terran forces, chopping him up, and unfortunately Rush has to tap out. GG is called, and the first game goes to Effort on a Terran favorited map. He is now game point from breaking out of this group after taking down the champion Soulkey.
Woo! Jeez. I mean, Rush, what do you even say about that game? The counterattacks from Effort were so powerful. Even though Rush seemed to be making some progress there in the top left with drops and that push up there, the counters were shutting down his spaces and preventing him from mining anywhere aside from the natural. I was a little bit worried for Effort as he was throwing away a few too many ultras in the defense of that bottom left and then up into the natural of Rush, but it was all going according to plan here. He bit down and bore through that mid game with some tactical play with the hold position lurkers and just kind of delay and eventually get those Guardians online and got into his macro play, like you said.
I mean, Effort read his soul that game. He only made like 5 Mutalisks initially and quickly got those lurkers out so that the timing of Rush would just fall through flat on its face. Next map's going to be Radiant. Very macro-centric map between these two contenders. Still, Rush could come back and get 2 victories in a row. Certainly possible.
Certainly possible. He's not going to want to utilize that build again, though. 5 Rex is out the window.
Well, here we go, guys. The ASL Season 20 final match between Effort and Rush. Let's get it started, guys. The map's going to be Radiant.
Effort over here in the top left. Rush in the bottom right. Cross map again. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, am I wrong? Did Rush not look extremely salty after that game? Like, he looked really, like, almost angry about how that game went.
Well, he got, like you said, Effort kind of read his soul there. Definitely picked up on the build and completely countered it with how he played the hold position lurker play. Like, we could have seen Effort annihilate that army. Remember when he had the hold position lurker and he didn't have it on hold position? He accidentally allowed that to start firing. Still, Rush lost a lot, but he could have lost nearly every Marine there had things gone a little different.
Right, yeah, even with some faults on Effort's side, he was still smashing. It's kind of scary how good this guy is. I'm really excited. We've got Soma coming back to the scene, Effort playing this good. We don't even need Soulkey. There's plenty of good Zergs out there, and they are going to start to overshadow Soulkey's previous success at this rate. It's absolutely insanity what we're seeing. Traditional wall-in coming down from Rush in the natural expansion. It's just 11 racks, no, not a 10 racks to put on pressure or anything. So, I mean, we might be seeing a very strong macro game from both sides. I doubt Rush will go for something like a 5 racks again. So hopefully we can get a more traditional mid-game centric style from him.
I can't believe you didn't mention Jaedong when you were listing the great Zerg players, man.
Yeah, he's been playing on fire as well. You're right.
So disappointed, but it's understandable. You know, he has been falling apart a little bit in the ASL. Some of the games haven't been as good, but this season, it's Jaedong's. Jaedong is making a huge recovery, and he is looking like the tyrant once again. He is really... he's going to give us some great games, I am sure. Just a little bit of a joke, guys, but we've got Effort scouting down here with the drone. He's going to be caught on the way back down here to the bottom right to actually check this base. He sees the Marine coming out and will back off now. He knows that it's not, or it's likely not a aggressive timing here, and so he's holding back the majority of his drones. He's not even going to send one to go make sure that a bunker gets started here.
No, but you're right. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about Jaedong's performance recently of how on fire he's been playing. And yeah, Lee Jaedong might be continuing that with the rest of the tournament. But for the time being, Kim Jong-woo effort here. He has the spotlight, saying he's knocked out the current reigning champion, and he might be breaking through Rush to get a little bit of revenge after that earlier match in the group and breaking out as the second contender alongside Barracks. I mean, what a day it's been for StarCraft history, for ASL, and for this particular gamer effort. Kim Jong-woo making history, knocking out that 4-time champion.
He'd better make it through here, Xun. I'm going to be so disappointed if we don't see him go forward after taking out Soulkey. I mean, the rest of the ASL lineup would be singing his praises, I'm sure. He'd be invited to every party in the StarCraft ecosphere. All the streamers would be calling him up and having him come over and hang out, because what a service he has done here for the rest of these gamers, for the rest of these pro players, getting rid of Soulkey early. Now, Effort is going to add a third hatchery here. 2.5 hatch is the build. It's pretty common in 2025 to open this way. It was a little bit of a shock earlier when we saw the 2 hatch play out of Soulkey in that first game.
Right. Yeah, I'm not too. One thing I do want to point out, though, is that Effort is the kind of guy that sometimes likes to go for that 3 hatchery before gas style, right? Like, he can pull that out. That's one of the things that will make him a strong contender in this tournament, is that you need to scout him. You can't just assume that he's playing 2 hatch or 2.5 hatchery. He might be pulling out the 3 hatch before gas card against you. So these Terran players are going to be always committing to their scouts, needing to figure out, what is this guy doing against me, because he literally can do anything under the sun against you.
Yeah, we got to see his level of trickiness play out in that ZVZ. Definitely pulled the wool over the eyes of Soulkey, which is not an easy feat whatsoever, but here he's not being too crazy. I mean, he did go for a pretty quick third base, and it's likely he's going to be going into Hydralisk Defiler with this opener.
Right.
Just getting those extra hatches online, and this third base up so early is going to really eat into his ability to make early mutas. As you can see, he's got 400 gas in the bank right now. He's not going to have a huge mutalist timing to punish Rush with, but he is going to have a powerful mid game once he gets everything online and this third base starts to work away.
Hang on, he's taking a very quick third gas here. So is this going to be a Hydra Defiler, or is he going to make crazy amounts of Mutalisks and try and run it down? I don't know. That's a very quick third gas, Saiyan. This could be interesting. He might not be. It might literally just be a macro build from Effort as well. But having this much gas this early could be a semi-all-in play with just crazy amounts of Mutalisks being produced and trying to overwhelm your opponent. This could be a Mutaling-centric style, and trying to, you know, catch Rush off guard here and kind of bait him into attacking by not making Sunkens, and then swallowing up that Bioball with lots of Mutalisk and Zerglings. Definitely possible, but great scans from Rush, it has to be said. Like, he's identified that there's no crazy Zerg build. He scanned the macro hatchery as well as the main, saw the Mutalisk timing and the tech timings here, and he's done a really great third scan at this third base and is forcing a Sunken as a result, and he's putting on pressure.
Oh, Effort is supply blocked right now. He can't build anything. He hasn't finished the Sunken colony just yet. Things are going a little bit awry for him right now. Seems like Rush might just be able to bust him open. That rally came forward at just the right time. He's finally opened the supply. He will get a few more units out right now. He was hoping that Rush would be a little bit more timid in his play, but he immediately moves forward here to aggress, and Effort's on the back foot, although he hasn't been broken yet, and he's been given a brief reprieve from Rush, kind of pulling back and putting all of his units together. This is a breath of fresh air for effort there. That was a really tight situation. I think he might have been holding his breath during that moment.
And here's that Mutalisk Zergling style I was looking at effort maybe going for. You can see that the Den and the Queen's Nest are ever so slightly delayed, not by a lot, but by a little. So it does seem like he wants to gobble up this Bioball group as soon as he can with that Mutaling style. Making that sunken wasn't part of the plan, though, so he did take a little bit of a dent into the economy of effort in doing this kind of move out. If he reinforced the Bible once as well. So if he can reinforce the Bible one more time, he's fine. But Effort's going to try and gobble this up before he can reinforce it anymore.
Look at the number of lings that are being made right now. Rush doing the right thing here, moving back closer to the natural, but he's not going to move far enough back, and immediately diving upon this effort. He needs to spread his lings a little bit more, get on top of here with a bit more surface area. He's going to do so and clear out this entire force. My goodness, was that an impressive trade from effort. Absolutely annihilating that force now and pushing forward with confidence. His transition is underway. He's already got the worker count to keep on pushing through here, going into that transition with so many units coming across the map. Oh my gosh, can he just break the natural right now? I think that he might be dead.
So. Yeah, now that the bunker's dead, he can just camp the ramp with the Mutalisk while the Zerglings clear out the turrets in the natural. He's completely opened up the position. Rush is in trouble. There's still 8 Mutalisks. They are pretty bruised up, but it's going to be a little bit of time before he's got enough Fire Force to push down the ramp and challenge this. Effort might be going out in style here today. There's the head tilt and the GG from Rush. Not only is he knocking out the champion today, but he's smashing through to the round of 8 in style, taking out Rush. A very potent Terran, 2-0. Look at this man taking off his jacket because he's just so hot today.
Man, Rush had a bit of a timing there. He kind of hesitated going towards that third base. Effort was in a bit of a tough spot. He had a big supply block and wasn't able to make anything. Had one sunken colony defending his third, and he bought enough time there with Rush's hesitation to pump out a huge amount of lings and really take advantage of all that droning he did early on, getting that third gas online and all those drones over at the third. It left him open for a moment, but Rush didn't punish.
I mean, I have to say it, Saiyan, I think Rush fell victim to one of the most typical Terran tropes of trying to stay on the rails so much that when the Zerg throw you some curveballs and take you off-road, you're not able to make those micro adjustments that are necessary to keep up with them. These Terran gamers are very good at what they do when they're staying on curve and in the usual ebb and flow of an orthodox Terran versus Zerg style. But when you're up against the alien Zerg who's playing just a little bit different than his usual, suddenly your world falls apart.
And we're going to have effort move forward. My gosh. His vengeance is complete here, taking out Rush after getting forced down to the loser's match. But I was completely wrong about this series, guys. I am happy to admit it. Here it is, that final attack in with so many mutas, just completely overwhelming the defenses here of Rush and just destroying this large bio force. It's kind of a Soulkey-esque style, which is fitting after knocking out that 4-time ASL champion just moments ago.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel vindicated though, saying I was trying not to make predictions this group and round, but honestly, like, I did call that there was a chance that Barracks was breaking out 2-0, and I did also call that this was going to happen with effort, where he could be pushed down into that loser's match, knocking out Soulkey, and then going out in style by taking out the champion. Wow, I mean, what a start to the round of 16. This completely changes the whole rest of the event. Now that Soulkey's gone, there's going to be lots of players, like you said earlier, licking their lips, eyeing up that coveted title, finally getting their gold medal after so many years. I mean, hell, it's about time.
There's also got to be so many players looking at Effort right now as a major threat after taking out both Soulkey and Rush. Is he going to be capable of going all the way to the finals and taking yet another ASL title? He's looking like his old self and better, Xun, here today in the round of 16.
I mean, it's scary how good this guy is. I don't even know what to say. I'm also super impressed with Barracks. Like, his build order execution was perfect. He did what he needed to do against Soulkey, and he took down Rush in style. He has historically struggled with that versus Protoss matchup. We'll have to see later on in the tournament if he can hold his own against a Protoss player. I'm sure a lot of these other guys will be eyeing him up because he's not that strong versus Protoss, so they could easily take him down there. But for the time being, let's just bask in the sheer glory of this current contender, Effort. What more can be said about him? He's the guy that slayed the dragon. Soulkey has been eliminated. His reign of terror is gone. You can see him sporting 2 stars above that S on his jacket. This guy has got championships under his belt, and he might be looking to upgrade to being a 3-star general this season himself.
I don't think anyone would be surprised at this point after taking down Soulkey if he was able to go the whole way. I'm making a huge statement here today in the round of 16. Definitely deserves some more attention in the ASL. So glad that he was able to advance, and we'll be able to see more great games from this guy. I can't wait to see him play against somebody like Best or Snow and get an idea of what his ZVP is looking like in the modern era.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I mean there was that possibility of maybe Flash coming back and taking the world by storm, but I don't think that's going to happen. Saying I actually feel that these guys coming back into the scene, like Effort, like Jaedong playing a bit more out of his mind recently, Soma's back as well. I think it's more likely that we'll have a Protoss champion than it is a Terran champion at the time being. I think there's a lot of problems, a little trouble in Terran Town at the moment. They can't quite adapt and keep up with the ebb and flow of the modern meta, just always in a state of flux. And gamers like Effort reinventing the wheel will give them even more problems to think about here. So I think it's either going to be a Zerg or a Protoss champion this season.
Could very well be right. I hope that we see a Protoss champion. I'm cheering for Best or Snow to make it through. I think that would be best for the game right now. We haven't had a Protoss champion for a long time, but Effort is looking scary, man. He is looking near unbeatable. He's able to keep it up here. Like the way that he performed against Rush today was second to none. Like even Soulkey, I don't think he could have pulled off that game number 1 versus Rush. Like the way that he was controlling everything there, he was controlling the flow, dictating the pace of that game. Absolutely legendary.
Absolutely, saying Effort is the man of the hour today. Kim Jong-woo slaying Soulkey, completely blowing this event open. And we've got more great games coming up for you as well. I hope you guys are as excited for this season of ASL as we are. It's an absolute pleasure, a privilege to bring you guys this cast and coverage of some live ASL action. This is the only place to get English commentary live. Yeah, you can wait a few days for those other guys, but let's be real. We're here, we're live, and saying I'm starting to feel proud.
I'm very proud of what we've accomplished here, Xun. Getting onto the ASL cast is a dream come true, and we've had a ton of fun today in the ASL and in the previous season. Just such a great tournament, such an amazing event that I've been watching since its inception. And I'm just so glad to be here and be a part of it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to everyone who supports our duo casts on Patreon. Saiyan, Xun, duo casts on patreon.com. You guys are helping us to keep this going and to keep doing this indefinitely. So we really appreciate it. And of course, everyone who joined here in the live stream as well. Thanks for hanging out with us and talking with us. We are reading the chat, and although we're not able to acknowledge or talk to you guys, we really appreciate you being here and just hanging out with us during this cast.
Absolutely, saying please come back tomorrow and join us on that Soup Live SCTV EN stream. We're going to be having Best, BTS, Queen, and Bisou. That's going to be a very interesting group. BTS has already caused upsets and shenanigans. Will he do so again? That remains to be seen. We'll be bringing you that action live. It's going to be 11 a.m. British summertime, my time. Go and calculate what that is for you. If you want, you can just go over to Liquipedia, search for the ASL 20 and look down at the schedule, see what the time is for you. It will give you a countdown via your specific clock and time zone to tell you exactly when we will be going live over on that Super Live channel. It's been an absolute blast to bring you guys this cast. I think that's going to be all from us. I've been Xun, with me saying, any final words?
Just in case you guys are worried about, maybe you're watching this a little bit later on YouTube, if you're worried about getting spoiled by the Liquipedia page because it updates in real time, you guys can head over to our Patreon page. We've already set up we've posted the upcoming schedule with no spoilers involved as well. So you guys can go onto our Patreon page, look at the schedule, and find out when the upcoming matches are going to be played, and you won't be spoiled for any of the results. But that's it, Xun. I think we've covered everything. Thank you guys so much for being here. We'll see you tomorrow for the next cast. Oh my gosh. It's just crazy, Xun. Another great day of ASL tomorrow.
Thanks so much, guys. See you tomorrow.